Hello and welcome to Flicks and Chill with me, Luke. This episode, I have a very special guest with me. Vinson is here. So, Vinson, why don't you take it away and introduce yourself?
Thank you. My stage name, just so that for searchability, is still Vinsane. I'm so happy to
Vinson.
be here.
Okay.
Uh, Thank you to Mark Zuckerberg and Meta Facebook. I was in a Facebook group and I got introduced to Mike, and he got me introduced to this podcast. And I am a big cinephile. I'm a big movie buff. I'm an unpaid movie critic, as many of us are. And I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you so much.
No, a pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. So, let's get into this. So, obviously, you're a big cinephile, and that's the big reason you're here. So, but we'll talk about movies later. Now, it's all really about you. So, besides movies, what makes you you? What are some of your likes? What are some of your dislikes? Any other hobbies besides movies?
Yeah, no, I am a big even though so since the pandemic, I
Mm-hmm.
have been working on trying to get back to the original me when it came to that. So I'm a big outside person. I love I love festivals,
Mm-hmm.
including film festivals. I love music festivals. I've been to Coachella at least 4 times. There's a music festival on the East Coast, two of them that I've been over 10 times, Governor's Ball and,
Nice.
Made in America in Philadelphia. I love art exhibits, so I basically just love being in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so since the pandemic, it's been a little harder because a lot of my jobs have been remote, which were cool in the beginning. Now I noticed that my content is very reliant on being outside, so that kind of stinks. I haven't been, and also I have a puppy, a
Oh,
4 year old.
nice.
She's a black lab. Her name is Wednesday. She's one of the lights of my life. Um, I had a 15-year-old dog pass during the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been an easier transition with that. Her name was Saturday. Love my dog. And yeah, so I love being in the mix. I love being where festivities are being held. I'm a people person. I do love my solitude just like everybody else, but I love being around people and what they're doing in arts and activities. It
Mm-hmm.
gives me great pleasure.
Okay, that sounds interesting. Is that your dogs being named by days of a week? Is that a theme for you? Or is it unintentional?
The second one was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to tell this story. It gets a little annoying when people automatically say, "Oh, Sunday," and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Sunday." Like, if you want me to tell you the story,
Mm-hmm.
like at least get her fucking name right. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So no, thank you for asking. So my
Mm-hmm.
dog Saturday, I used to live in Indiana. That's where I went to college, my undergrad,
Mm-hmm.
DePaul University with a W. That's another thing that I have to correct because a lot of people think it's DePaul from Chicago. But
Mm-hmm.
no, I was in bumfuck Indiana, Greencastle, Indiana, and lots of cornfields, lots of former Ku Klux Klan members. It was crazy. In
Okay.
my weekend, when I was going to visit the college, I'm half black myself,
Mm-hmm.
African American, and they showed a hang house. They showed like a lynching hang house as part of their like landmarks. And I
Mm-hmm.
looked like the host, and I'm like, "What's going on here?" And they're like, "Oh no, we know it's disturbing, but it's just part of the culture here." And I'm like, "Part of the culture?" I'm like feeling my neck, like, oh, like get a little sweaty. But anyway, so I had a crush on campus, and we don't talk. Oh, sorry about that. We don't talk anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And but at the time I was trying to court her, and I had a huge crush on her. So one morning, crack of dawn, I was in a fraternity, so like waking up at like 7 a.m. in the morning was like sacrilegious.
Mm-hmm.
She brought me to the Humane Society. She could have brought me anywhere. I would have did it at that time. I was so horny. And so we go to the Humane Society. I'm looking at dogs. Like I got the morning crust in my eye. And she shows me this litter of puppies, and they were really big into football over there. They didn't have many major teams, but
Mm-hmm.
the Indianapolis Colts was one of them. And they won the Super Bowl that year against the Chicago Bears. And
Mm-hmm.
so the litter of puppies, one was named Vinny for
Mm-hmm.
Vinatieri, the kicker. The other one was named Rhodey after Dominic Rose, the running back, and one was named Saturday after Jeff Saturday, the center. Actually, Jeff Saturday is on ESPN now. He's one of the telecast analysts for football. And so I looked at my crush at the time, and I said, my friend, I said, well, it's not going to get made fun of in kindergarten for that name. So that's really cool, Saturday. I've never heard that day of the week. I think that's actually, now that I've told other people, it's a little bit more common. I had a coworker of mine, her cat was named Thursday. So I was like, oh, okay, so it's not that unusual.
Hmm.
Fast forward many years later, again, in the twilight of my dog's life, we got another dog, and she was pitch black, pure black lab, and they had her named Black Betty. And my brother-in-law, he's like a MAGA guy, so I was like, that would be what you would do. So
Hmm.
I was like, I already don't want to name anything that he wants to name it. So I was just like, and I know, and I swore that I wouldn't do it, that I wouldn't continue the days of the week,
Hmm.
but I was really into the Adams family, and I was like, you know what, let's do this. And my family was receptive to it, so they rolled with it. And so at the time, I had a dog named Saturday, and then a dog named Wednesday. And Wednesday, again, she is amazing.
Yeah.
So for asking,
See, I didn't actually want to presume, but I was gonna ask. So, is it because of Adam's family and Wednesday and Adam's family? Okay. So that was a safe assumption.
it was
Nice.
before the show, though. I was a fan.
Yes.
My mom used to bring me to the first live action films in the '90s. Chris Columbus.
Both
And
are great.
yes, classic,
Both.
especially during the Thanksgiving season.
Hmm.
Sorry that I didn't research you enough. Where are you from? Where are you broadcasting this from?
So this is like I'm now based in Scotland, originally from Czech Republic. So there is
Oh,
no such a thing as Thanksgiving from either of those places.
yeah, exactly. I went to Prague a few years ago. It was
Nice.
awesome, and I
How did
still
you
have.
like it?
I loved it. Oh my gosh, very
Hmm.
heated.
Oh.
Heated, and the castles were fantastic. I know you guys have like some of the oldest medieval
Hmm.
art, and I'm really into that. The St. Charles Bridge, I was loved
Hmm.
it. I had a fantastic time. But yeah, no, you're right. That's what it was, and so it was just in time because I didn't even know the show was
Hmm.
premiering yet. I know it was being developed by Tim Burton, but I didn't know that it was premiering yet. So a lot of people assume that it was. That's fine. And now
Hmm.
there's a lot of people that have animals named Wednesday because of
Yep.
that. And I was ahead of the curve. I try to do that.
See? Proper influencer you are. Like, look at you. Look at
My
you.
micro influence.
No, but that's cool to hear. Like, so wait, so you originally from Idaho?
No, I am from Queens, New
Oh,
York,
Queens.
Southside Jamaica, Queens, snowed at.
Oh, okay.
50 Cent, Ja Rule, Run DMC, Nicki Minaj. They're all
Hmm.
from my neighborhood where I grew up. As a matter of fact, I've passed by some of those people before in my life.
Nice.
But I got a scholarship, a leadership scholarship, which wouldn't rock today because it was basically a DEI scholarship, which I'm
Mm.
all for. I'm all for like affirmative action and stuff.
Hmm.
I'm like Chris Rock. If there's a white guy with a B plus and a black guy with a B plus, I'm going with the black guy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not going with the underqualified. That's not okay. But like I like to see things diverse. Same thing with a woman. Same thing with like different type of diverse backgrounds. I think
Hmm.
I was in Columbia Psychiatry, there when I left, they had a big racist scandal. And I said to them during one of the meetings, I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not saying that like you have to have the smartest people in the room at all times, but you always have to have a different voice in there to be like, hold up, that's the wrong way to go.
Yep.
So I'm very much into that.
Hmm. Okay. So originally from New York, then
Yeah,
you got
that's
scholarship.
Indiana.
Okay. And oh, Indiana, not Idaho. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, DePaul University, and it was like I said, it was called a leadership scholarship, but they
Hmm.
disguised it as because so Indiana was really racist at the time, and they still are.
Hmm.
Couldn't get black people, they couldn't get people of a different shade to come to campus because, again, a town over, the Ku Klux Klan resurrected itself from the 20s into the 70s. As a matter of fact, the Red Dragon was living right nearby. He could walk by you with no problem.
What is Red Dragon?
The Red Dragon is like a big like leadership position
Oh,
within Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nation.
okay.
And yeah, no, I lived around that all the time. And so part of the scholarship, it was like real world. They were trying to diversify colleges. They were trying to get a different group of people and
Hmm.
smack them over there. Get, of course, get a great education. But I was there to make Indiana more brown.
Hmm.
And so now it's the antithesis of that. But at the time, I was part of that movement trying to get places to be less white
Hmm.
and male.
All right. That's so much to unpack, but I think that's just like America in a nutshell. So much to unpack, especially right now.
Absolutely, I know.
So, first of all, how do these? positions in Ku Klux Klan work like red like who is above Red Dragon? Like I cannot believe I'm asking that, but like okay,
I know.
this
I
is
don't know the exact what's it called
hierarchy.
with the hierarchy field, but I
Hmm.
think the Grand Wizard is like the top of the top.
Oh yeah, I knew that because of like mo obviously movies like Black Klansman and all those movies. Like
Yeah,
yeah, I've heard
great.
of like a Grand Viz yeah, but I didn't know that they have dragons of different colors. Is it safe to say there's no black dragon? I don't know. Like
Right. I mean, I would have to assume that.
m- I like to me this is so fucking wild that something like this, like KKK, still exists. Like to me that's such a oh yeah, this used to be in the past, like early 1900s, 1800s. And no, it's still out there and it's still around us. And I'm like, well, around you guys, obviously I don't live in America. And I'm like, why? And also how? And also why? I'm so fucking confused.
Well,
Like,
one of the big leaders from the Ku Klux Klan, David Duke, he voted for
mhm.
did he vote for Hillary? I know he voted for but I know for a fact he
Yeah.
voted for Trump.
Yeah.
I know for a fact he voted for Trump twice. But somebody told me that he voted like someone you wouldn't even guess before that. Because I'm a big liberal myself, so I'm not just
Mhm.
trying to throw Hillary under the bus.
Yeah.
But I know that he voted for Trump, but I know that like he just didn't start voting, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
today. So I figured he would vote for somebody that I voted to. Yeah, no, you're right. It's totally ingrained in this DNA, unfortunately, and here we are.
That is just so insane.
Better be careful. The Loch Ness monster. If you look too close into his little bay, you might find a cloak in there. You know, you might
That
find a good, and we might have to cancel him.
okay, but Nessie's never done anything wrong. She might
Hey,
not
hey, here we
she
go.
might not exist. She might
I'm
be
waiting for the
totally
documentary.
she might be totally made up by like this amateur photographer, but she's never done anything wrong. Nessie is a pure heart, non-existing soul, okay?
Oh no, oh no. Don't get me too, Locke. Nessie.
But so okay, so Indiana, and where do you reside now?
I'm back in Queens. I'm back in
Back
Queens.
in New York.
I used to
Nice.
live in New Jersey for a while, and then my
Hmm.
mother and sister got sick. And so then I came back to finish my master's at Queens College for communications,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I helped them through their convalescence. And again, my dog was here, so I just stayed. I just stayed. I just ended up making a studio in my
Hmm.
apartment, and I continue my podcast called Keep Up, and I produce other ones, and I love to guest star on podcasts like this, especially with film and
Hmm.
TV as the subject material.
Nice, nice. So how is New York right now? Like, like so you're a native New Yorker, obviously,
Yes.
and throughout your life, right? What's the biggest change you can think of?
Uh, there is a lot, not like it's not like a Will Smith movie, like Omega Man or something like that. It's not
Hmm.
like a dystopian. It's like not like The Last of Us, but there is a lot of stores that did not come back.
After pandemic.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of small business, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of brick and mortar. As a matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, when I was interviewing for a job, it was very rare for a company to have enough capital to get into a big, building to rent.
Yeah.
So that's kind of sad. At the same time, it was like where we were going anyway. Didn't matter if there was a pandemic or not. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
went online, and in my opinion, you should have both. You should have an online presence. You should have somebody that you make it convenient for you to go buy from there, and you should have some. But if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. So that's been sad. But other than that, no, it's pretty much the same New York. It's the same New York. A lot of people, most people that report negatively, in my opinion, about New York don't live here,
Mm-hmm.
and they have no business being here. I'm not like a border type of person, and I'm not even like exclusive with that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's funny that you mentioned hot takes. One of my favorite TikTok and Instagram series is Subway Takes.
Okay.
And the person, I don't know if you ever seen it, but like they take a hot take and they
Mm-hmm.
talk about it on Subway real quick, like just
Ah.
a snippet. It's an awesome show. And one of them was like, if you're not born in New York, you will never be a New Yorker. And I was like,
Mm.
and that was like one of the most homogenous thoughts of myself. I agree. I agree. There's so many people that have lived, I know, and there's people who've lived here for like 20 years and they'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a New Yorker. I'm like, no, you're not. And again, I'm not trying to get all Donald Trump. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
get, America, yes. America, yes. You're a lot like there's all types
Mm-hmm.
of immigration laws, and I'm totally down with that. Totally down with the Statue of Liberty. But when it comes to being a New Yorker, you could be the only way that you could be a New Yorker is born here, and a lot of people have gotten upset over that.
Mhm.
But New York State, yes. New York City, it's no, it's too exclusive a club to just give out like that.
I wonder, see, like when, okay, I wonder if people like with the different major like cities like that, like Tokyo or like Berlin or like Prague, also feel like that. I don't know because like obviously New York is quite specific, but like same time like there's a lot of specific places like with different culture than the rest of the country even. So I do wonder how because it's such a like almost obvious statement, but at the same time, it's not. Hmm, interesting.
And those people and people that are not born here, they
Hmm.
contribute heavily, heavily. I am a bit
Hmm.
again, we have I think 8 million people here every day.
Hmm.
And actually 11 million people just foot traffic from coming from the outer states and boroughs and stuff. So I'm all about that,
Hmm.
you know, bringing the spice of life. But when it comes to being a native, natural New Yorker, that's like the most xenophobic part about me, unfortunately. Like, nope, if you weren't born here, you're not. I say that to my dad. My dad has lived here longer than me,
Hmm.
and he was born in Chicago. And I'm like, sorry, stick to deep dish, brother. You are not a New Yorker.
Okay. I don't have enough information to like contest that. Like again, it sounds like one of those. It sounds like one of those like I know people from New York, but that's I guess like a stereotype. I might have heard of once or twice. They are very proud of where they're from. Like they are New Yorkers. And by talking to you, it seems like that's kind of proving that stereotype correct. Like there's something about that.
Like I said, in Indiana, they did not have many pro sports teams.
Hmm.
So I was a big Yankee fan, and at the time we lost that big series against the Red Sox where we were up 3-0. I had a like a board, like a little writing board, and I said, "See you guys in the World Series when I get back." Went to New York, we lost all the games, we lost the series. I came back, my whole board was filled. People used to get annoyed me all the time when I would make comments like this. Like
Hmm.
I'd be like, "Well, we are the center of the universe." What? And I'd have like friends from Chicago like, "No, I'm like, oh.
Okay.
Nobody like if you went to another country, yeah, you'd be like, oh, Chicago, but like not
Hmm.
much is known about it. Everybody knows about New York. It doesn't matter. You could be in the Congo
Hmm.
about to like save a rhino from like a poacher, and you know something about New York.
Okay.
I know it's cocky, but we are the center of the universe.
Oh damn. Mm. That's the American exceptionalism coming out like
Yes, yes, yes. I would be annoyed about it, but it is true.
we, we are the center of and this is why many people around the world really like Americans. Now, the world, I'm just gonna say the Team America, the World Police,
Oh
back in
boy.
2004, those South Park guys knew exactly how the world, even at the time, viewed America. I don't know, and
With Canada.
with Donald being there again, I don't think that's much improved since, unfortunately. You guys had like, seems like there was a decline or there was an incline. I was like, oh yeah, it's getting better. It's getting, never mind. And it's just
I
like,
I know. That was a big test and we failed.
second time, my I add, second time. Like first time, okay, let's like let's see, like he's not a politician. Let's see what he can do. Like I can kind of understand, even though I didn't like him even the first time. I was like, what the fuck? And now the second time is like, oh yeah, let's bring him back. Like he did such a great job. Let's bring. I was like, all right,
I'm
cool,
glad you
cool,
feel
cool.
like that. No, we need to be accountable, and I'm glad people from other countries hold us accountable to that because you're right. We were like the quote unquote standard bearer, even when we were like behind closed doors doing shisty stuff. Most of the time, we
Mm-hmm.
were we were the standard when it came to human rights and all that. And with a guy like this, it does not embody that. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
thank you for holding us to those high standards
Well,
because we need to get back to that. Of
Well, don't get me wrong, we have our own issues, and every
course.
place has their own issues, but like it just seems like it's kind of going downhill very quickly. And I'm
Oh,
hope
especially 100 days. It's gonna get worse before it
and
gets better. But
yep.
luckily, in my opinion, I'm like one of those nerds. I listen right now. I know you probably don't believe me, but I'm listening to the U.S. Constitution for Dummies on
Mm-hmm.
Audible. So I'm really, and especially in these times where you got to know your rights. And,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the one thing I love about this country is it's not really meant for my kind, unfortunately. But if you're not black and a woman,
Hmm.
it really is good for you in justice. And on top of that, it's really good at keeping tyrants at bay. So when he was in the first time, that's what I learned. I used to work at Brute Media,
Hmm.
and we were always like shell shocked over what he was doing every day. And I don't do that anymore. Like I'm just like, because I'm better prepared this time. And I know that like he is like a bull in the china shop, but our system is so set up for us not to have a monarchy that like yeah he could be like that, but there are
Hmm.
two people around him as buffers that don't let him become a dictatorship, that
Hmm.
don't let him, yeah, he flexes his muscles a lot, or even somebody that could do that, but again the Constitution, it may not be great for slaves, it may not be great for women, but it is great at keeping tyrants at limited power. And so
Well, he's gonna test the fuck out of it right
oh
now.
yeah.
Because, like, from what I understand, just yesterday, just before the Supreme Court, the whatever court it's called, they've denied his request to end the birthright citizenship. So it goes to the Supreme Court. And if they say, from what I've read about it, if they side with him, that's gonna be the first time ever president changes the constitution. And if that goes, the constitution law, what is that? If he makes a law, if he then and that's what he said yesterday during one of the debates, we are the law. He's gonna fucking push those barriers, and he's got a lot more of his people in places where they are needed. So I'm hopeful. Push comes to shove, there's gonna be enough, not a leeway to get some stuff through. But I'm very pessimistic about what's gonna happen with you guys and how it's gonna look in another 100 days, let alone 3 years.
Well, like you're right, and he brought out the reinforcements, and there's less guardrails this time because
Hmm. He appointed a lot of judges, and a lot of people of his kind are in a position of power where they approve stuff, let alone, before, not like 2016 to 20. So it's
no
scary.
offense,
It's
Scotland and
scary.
Czech, I would have never known anything like that going on in your countries.
Ooh,
But thank you for paying attention. No, you're right. Mitch McConnell is about to not run for re-election. He's a big part of that. He's a big reason why the courts got packed red. He's a big reason why Merrick Garland didn't get a chance to become a justice
yep,
during Obama, during the
yep,
quote lame duck session. That was stupid. But they
yep.
did that to Reagan many years ago too, and he had a qualified person. I think his name is Bulk. Not a fan of Reagan, but like, presidents are allowed to pick their Supreme Court justices. I'm a big Ruth
Except
Bader,
for Obama.
right? He would be a great SCOTUS. I know, but
No, no, I mean, like, like how Mitch McConnell denied him
no,
that,
I know. Yeah, that's
spot.
what I'm saying. But they called him a lame duck. That's why, and he wasn't.
Yep, yep.
But they used the same precedent that they used with Reagan. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so, yeah, Mitch. But to counter, not to be contrarian, but to
No, no,
counter
tell
what
me.
you're saying is, um, with all those red judges, they still
Hmm.
have rejected him. They still have, and even ones that he appointed that are like MAGA constituents, they had, for instance, he tried to fire the whistleblower, and the Supreme Court rejected him.
Hmm.
Now, you're right, they have given him many wins, but that's what I'm saying. I might not agree with all these type of things. As a matter of fact, in that U.S. Constitution for Dummies
Hmm.
Audible, they mention, and I'm an FDR fan, not everything that he does. Of course, the internment camps with the Japanese, he's done a
Hmm.
lot of. Plus, he's an heir of J.P. Morgan, so of course, like he's big on the centralized banks and what we have today.
Hmm.
But they called him the first imperialist president, and he was the first one that like expanded the powers with the New Deal.
Hmm.
And even though that's more like liberal things that I like, that set up the stage for bit like presidents to have a bigger role in the three system. And yeah, so that's why a lot of them, Bush, he was one of the Nixon, they were one of the first ones to go against Congress to go declare war.
Hmm.
And obviously that's supposed to be their job, but in their interpretation, they're the commander in chief. So they're like, fuck you, like you don't have to declare war. I could declare war. And so I think I'm not a big founding father guy because
Hmm.
again, I would be three-fifths a person if it was according to them.
Yep.
But I think that they really established a good document to stop somebody like him. You're right. We're still early. We're still infant
Hmm.
phase. of this, but experiencing it the first time, we lived through it. We were fine. I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm not an undocumented person. I'm not a
Hmm.
trans person. Unfortunately, it does not directly affect me. I might live in New York where I have a lot of people that are affected by that. Muslims, like Palestinians and stuff like that. The Muslim ban. My dad is a convert, so he's not going anywhere. The first time, like I said, I took it personally. The second time, unfortunately, I'm immune. And I say to myself, I said to some of these people that like are upset, especially my friend who voted for Jill Stein, was like, dude, he's like, what? I'm opting out. I'm like, but you were a big person about the Middle East. You were like, oh, I can't stand what Biden's doing. I'm like, yeah, and now we're seeing what Trump's doing with saying that he wants to turn Gaza into the Mediterranean Riviera, which is
Yep.
not even in the Mediterranean. So he's already trying to whiteify it, whitewash it. So that's what I'm saying. He's an example. I can't vote for everyone.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
can't I can't like if you have a family that's about to be separated through ICE. Sorry, you didn't do a good. In my, I know this is blanketed, so I know this
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
a little easy assertion, but in my opinion, you didn't do your job. You didn't talk to your racist uncle well enough during Christmas. You didn't talk to your friends. I've tried. I have a podcast. I have a platform. I work in spaces with social justice, all that good stuff, climate change. I'm always in those type of areas, so I'm always trying to
Hmm.
affect the conversation. I can't do it for everybody.
No, of
So,
course. I wasn't like, like I wasn't trying to point a finger
oh,
at
not
you
at
or by
all.
any
No,
means.
answer.
No,
Just
no,
answer.
no. No, no, no. Just like, but yeah, like I hope
We
I'll
will
say this.
survive, Gloria Gaynor. That's my point. We will survive. We'll be all right.
I genuinely hope you will. Like
Oh,
I see what is going on and I'm like, "Oh, this is not gonna end well." Because he's already again, he's not even 100 days in and he's already like he says literally says to a government of Michigan or somebody, like one of the governments, "Oh yeah, we'll see you in court. We are the law."
Maine,
And
Maine.
Maine, was it Maine? Okay, Maine. Thank you. And I'm like, wow, sitting president of the United States says we are the law. I'm
Yeah, it
like,
was over the trans. It was over the trans ban.
yeah,
Athlete
yeah, yeah,
Title IX.
yeah. And he's gonna pull all the funding if they don't tell, if they don't do what he wants them to do. And I'm like, this is genuine, not even a king thing. This is genuine dictatorship.
Well, he
Like this
called
is
himself a
what,
king.
oh, yeah,
He
why
said,
not? Why
"Hail the
not?
king" when he took out the congestion pricing for New
Yes.
York.
It
And
sounds
that
much better
left
than
him off.
dictator. It sounds much better than dictator, yes. But
Well, but
that.
each one that he does executive order, he's going to get sued. So, and some
Mhm.
he'll win, and he's going to lose a lot too.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's he's just going to keep pushing it.
That's what I was like saying. So I genuinely hope I'm not look I'm not having I don't think any of us are having fun with that unless you're in his camp, which I really hope your life is going great, buddy. But like we're not having fun here with like like with what he's doing, and we are watching it closely because unfortunately many things that happen in the United States affect the world, not
Yeah,
just UK, not just Europe, but the world.
absolutely.
So yeah,
And
it's
you
I
one of his famous golf courses over there. Crazy.
well, I live quite close to one of his, yes. Not
Yeah.
very, not even before the presidency wasn't popular, like or amongst the locals. Like
Uh-huh.
people always say, like, oh, we knew that he was a proper cunt, like way before he ran for a president.
True, he is a proper
Like,
cut.
like we knew a long time ago. Like he tried to like tear down some like wind turbines because we have quite a lot of them here.
Yeah,
And
he thinks birds are being killed by it. Yes.
no,
I've
no,
heard.
no, it's just like like he literally said they give you cancer.
Oh, I heard that one too.
Yeah, and so the Scottish courts pulled him here to court, and so they basically like had this like done in 5 minutes. So where's your evidence? I don't have any. Okay, so why did you say it? Because I think so. So there is no point. Okay,
Very Republican.
denied. Like like it's as simple as that. Where's your evidence? No, I just said it because I feel like that. Oh, okay, denied. Next. No, but I'm hoping, genuinely hoping, like, it's gonna turn out, like, despite everything, it's gonna somehow turn out fine. I'm fingers crossed, honestly, because obviously I'm not rooting against you.
Oh, thank
Even the
you.
people who are voted for him, like, because like eventually they're gonna some of them will also get hurt, and maybe that's the reason. Once it affects you, or once it affects personnel, not you, but them personally, they might have that moment of like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have voted for him. But maybe.
2 million people less voted this cycle, and
Yep.
that's a big strategy of Republicans all the time. Anytime you vote low, they always
Yep.
win. And
Correct.
even though I thought I don't even like Biden. When I worked at Brute Media,
Nobody did.
I'm a big Bernie bro,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought he got screwed out by Hillary and the DNC and all that debt that Obama left, and
Mm-hmm.
Hillary paid off, and then she was able to control that. So even though I voted for her,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want. It's not that I will never vote for a Republican. I don't want to vote for a Republican like that.
Yes.
And so I'm always going to vote against that. And with Biden, he was like one of my. I didn't even like him as VP. I thought he was retarded when he was VP.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never really been a big fan of him. But when I worked at the news program, I thought that I didn't think that we were all going to be like lockstep. I didn't think we were all going to be like, have a hive mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really disappointed. We were covering the primaries, the down ballots, all that good stuff, just like CNN, just like those big news programs. And we, of course, naturally, we asked like who we were voting for, and I emphatically said Bernie, Bernie. So,
Mm-hmm.
and even the second time, I was like, yes, Bernie. You guys are a liberal station, aren't you? I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big AOC fan. And they go, no, no. They went down the list, Tulsi Gabbard. They went all over the place. So whatever,
Yep.
you're allowed to have diverse thinking. But the one that disappointed me the most was my boss.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big liberal himself. He has a film podcast also. It's called oh man, I'll remember it later.
Mm-hmm.
But really cool guy, one of my mentors, and he said Biden. And I was like, what? Why? And he goes, oh, Vince, don't get me wrong, I'm as liberal as you, but the country is not ready for it. I was like, and with populism, especially on the far right, they don't
Mm-hmm.
give a fuck. They don't care if you're ready for it. Here we are. This is our platform. You're gonna take it. But for some reason, with liberals, they're always like tiptoeing and being like, "Oh, when are you ready for my agenda?
Yeah.
When are you ready for me to represent you and the under marginalized and blah blah blah?" And like I said, the red states don't care. They're like, we don't like women. I'm being blanketed again.
Yes.
Like trans, and it doesn't matter if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
We don't. So
Mm-hmm.
we're just going to push it through. Like I said, we're just liberals are too timid about that, and
Mm-hmm.
they need to be proud to represent the people that they do instead of looking like they're the elitist crowd.
Mm-hmm. As much to the point that your boss has made, as much as it pains me to say, I think he's right because I see it. I think I see what he means. Because
In
Bernie, and
denial.
as much as I like Bernie too, by the way, the problem with Bernie is, and it's always been, and Obama had the same issue. That's why he had advisors how to rebrand the word. The moment you in America mark somebody as communist, anti-capitalist,
I
they're
know.
done.
I know.
Like that's like like
That's the
Bernie
Red
is
Scare.
obviously Bernie is obviously on a very far left, and if, and again many great ideas, and again I would be in his camp probably, but in America, the Red Scare is still alive and well, especially amongst the older generation who are desperate to vote. Unlike the younger generation, is like, ah, voting, I don't know, both sides are the same, just count me out. The
Incorrect.
older people are showing up. And for them, the Red Scare is still viable, this still is visible. And if you mark somebody, hey, look at his like, agenda. This is communism in a nutshell. This is what we never wanted. This is what we were against ever since the 60s. Oh, I remember the 60s. Yeah, they're right. Oh, yeah, no, but no, Bernie, no. And
Yeah.
I think that's what your boss and many in the media were saying about Bernie, even in 2016, and maybe that's why I believe they did screw him over, 100%. It shouldn't have never been like that. But yeah, I think it's like a single issue candidate, isn't it? Like they would turn in like the biggest problem with him, and then he would have target on his back. No, he wants to, Bernie. No, don't vote for him. If you want a communism in America, vote for Bernie. Yes, and that would be the only talking point.
And it wouldn't even be a problem if the Republicans said that. Republicans and Democrats say that.
Yeah,
Democrats will use
correct.
Red Scare tactic too and be like, for instance, when they revealed those emails, Wasserman, she is the representative of Florida, and she ended up working on Hillary's campaign.
Hmm.
She got caught in the email saying that he was too Jewish. As a matter of fact, my big Republican friend, he's a huge conservative, huge MAGA guy. I knew he was going to vote MAGA way before Trump even started running. He's
Hmm.
like, oh, I was like, no shocker there, bro. But
Hmm.
anyway, um, he um, he's called Bernie a kike a few times, and I'm like, and he's Jewish. He's Jew. My friend is Jewish, and he's like, yeah, but he makes me anti-Semitic. I fucking hate commies. I'm like, and my grandmother is 83. She voted for Reagan, and the same thing. She won't say those vulgar things, and well, maybe not to my face at least.
Hmm.
But no, she gets scared about communism too. But back to my point, far left, for some reason, and not for some reason, the reason that you highlighted perfect and eloquently, for some reason, far left is way more scary than far right. And for some reason, and I don't think it's less digestible. I just think that the right is more comfortable
Yes.
with being like that. They're more like if they go center, that's fine. If they go, if they go even a little left, that's fine too. But they support each other no matter what. Democrats, if you are not the same Democrat as that Democrat, they'll sabotage you.
Hmm.
RFK Jr., I don't even like RFK Jr., but they did that to him. They did
Hmm.
that to Bernie. AOC, I'm afraid they're going to do that too. Also, they're going to be like, you're too liberal.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can't be on the docket. You can't be on the ticket. And we're going to lose a lot of elections like that if they keep doing that. I
Hmm.
think populism, I'm not the first one to say this, and I'm not going to be the last one. Populism is huge. It's for the people.
Yes.
And you have to let the populace, like Bernie, you have to let the populist candidate thrive. And Republicans do that. The Tea Party, they almost let them through too. They're okay with changing mechanisms within their party, and the blue is not at this point.
Because yeah, again, for them, AOC people like Bernie or AOC are too radical, but you know why? Again, thinking about it, I think one feeds into another, and we've already touched on it like about 20 minutes ago.
Huh?
The idea of American exceptionalism. The reason many normal, quote unquote, person who makes $30,000 a year,
Right.
not a millionaire, not a billionaire by any stretch of
Definitely
imagination.
poor. You're definitely
Yes,
poor if you live in New
yes,
York. If
yes.
you make 30 grand, you might be living in a cardboard box if you make 30 grand.
But, but
Yeah.
even that person, your average person like that, still believes he or she can be a millionaire or a billionaire. So they would much rather, when they get there, not pay such a large amount of taxes. And I think
Just
one
in case
feeds.
they become a billionaire, just in case they own SpaceX one day.
Yeah, correct, correct. So like, and again, like, so to me, that's like, like how many people end up voting against their own best self-interests. Because like, just on an off chance I will become a millionaire tomorrow or next year, I don't want to deal with these taxes Bernie is talking about or AOC is talking about, even though they are perfectly normal thresholds, and they are thresholds, and they are not, oh yeah, once you hit certain number, half of your value is gone or no. But the American exceptionalism and the mindset of, oh, I can be anything. I've always been told I can be anything. Therefore, I don't want to be a future billionaire who's gonna pay too much tax. So yeah, Bernie is a bit too radical for me. So no, thank you. And I
Yeah.
think one feeds in again, and it's a generation of like this kind of mindset. I see that like slightly changing with the internet and with
Uh,
the many people talking to people all over the world. I see that mindset changing, but it's gonna take another generation, I think, before we see proper change. Like somebody like when I see proper change, somebody as quote unquote not controversial but revolutionary like Bernie, like AOC, to actually be elected in a position of proper power.
that would
I,
make me really happy. That would
no, me too.
that would really that would again, I don't mind. I would vote for a Republican if it aligned with the things
Hmm.
that I want to see improve the country. I'm
Yeah.
not hardcore blue like that.
Hmm.
I'm a liberal first and foremost. I don't care about party lines.
Hmm.
But I agree with you. I agree. I was a big Obama fan. He's my favorite president ever, but he's a moderate. He
Yes.
can do a lot of Bush policies, immigration, all that good stuff. That's why I liked him because I was like, that's a president. That's someone that listens to both sides. That's someone that tries to get everybody on board with the country. I totally agree with you. It sucks that somebody actually, and I've traveled, and other people have said the same sentiments. They either feel empathy, apathy, they feel sad, and I don't know what to say. I'm like, thank you guys for bearing with us.
Now it's all
It's
good. Again, I'm just hoping. some I don't know how, but I'm hoping somehow everything will turn out at least okay for most of the people. Some of them are already fucked as we are
Yeah.
speaking,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and that's fucking insane. But yeah, anyway, since we now solved all the problems,
Wait, right? All
let's
good. Thank you.
let me talk to the native New
Really smart.
Yorker.
I was happy to talk about those
Oh,
things.
thank you, thank you. Like again, like I'm a boring person. I follow politics. What can I say?
No, that's great. That's great. No, you have to no. I know woke is not a popular term anymore. We're not in the 60s, unfortunately, during civil rights.
I was
But
gonna
now,
say because woke is became a buzzword that means nothing now. Like if you go to a right, woke means all the bad things that you can think
I
of,
know.
and if you go to the left, it also means 10 different things to 10 different people. It's lost all its meaning.
I know, and
So
it used to be Martin Luther King used to use
yep,
it, Malcolm
yep.
X, Spirit of Truth, they used to all use it. But one more point, one more point. One of
Tell
my
me, tell
friends,
me.
so I think Obama, that's why I brought up Obama.
Hmm.
Obama spoiled me. I
Hmm.
thought because of that, because in my lifetime, there's so many people in their lifetime, they never got to see somebody not Anglo-Saxon white be president of the United States and male and
Yep,
old.
yep.
So I got spoiled with that. I was like, oh my God, in my lifetime, I got to see this. So now I'm going to see the first woman president. I'm going to see the first Asian president. I'm going to see the first Jewish president. That's what I got my hopes. Thanks,
Yep.
Obama. Thanks, Barry. But so I was at a party one time, and one of my friends who works in like criminal justice,
Hmm.
I said that. I was like, ah, never voting for a white old man ever again. Here we go. And she goes, hold that thought.
Yep.
And she was like, "You need to read this book called White Lash." And I was like, "Why?" She goes, "Because, like you said this earlier perfectly. There are still many people into that nostalgia of white people need to run this country,
Hmm. Yep.
or the nuclear family, all those good things you said, the Red Scare. There's so many people that are still ingrained in that kind of thinking. And my silly ass, the old adage, change is painfully slow and
Hmm.
incremental. And I got ahead of myself. I got ahead of myself. So she was right. She was like, there are people that are going to take revenge. And
Yes.
not only are they going to be like, I'm not all those guys that you want to vote for, all those categories, those demographics, I'm going to prevent you from doing that so much that I'm going to put the most extreme, I'm going to put an orange guy. I'm not even going to just put a white guy.
Yes.
I'm going to put a spray tan motherfucker in there with like a toupee, the totally antichrist of what you like. I'm putting that back there because I need to fight back. And
As
yeah,
the old joke goes, orange is truly the new black. Yes.
ah,
Like
true,
as
true.
the
And that's my last on that. But no, thank you. That's totally
no.
up my. Of
Like I was gonna like raise one last point talking about Obama
course, your
specifically.
show. It's your show.
Uh, I had a thought recently because like I watch like a lot of even like older videos, and
Yeah,
like it is true. I don't know if Obama would have been elected today, and not because of he's black or whatever, but even when you made the point earlier about Democrats being all over the place, right?
yeah.
Because many people like they forgot that when he ran, he was against gay marriage. Whether he actually,
Very
yeah,
religious. Jeremiah Wright. Yes, he
the
was.
problem is, there are two theories. Either he actually was for it, or he actually was playing political chess and knew the moment he said, because it was still like, mid 2000s, it wasn't as popular as it was in 10 years after when he legalized it or when he signed off on it, right? And when he turned. So there's quite a few theories where he didn't want to make his presidential campaign be one issue thing about gay marriage. So he would rather say no and like, you know what, and I'll fix it later when I have power.
That's
And
very
to
smart.
me,
Very true, in my opinion.
again, like I don't know, never met Obama, would love to. Seems like a cool guy. But to me, that kind of like seems, and that's the kind of problem with Democrats. Like, I always say much more problems with Republican side right now in America. Many, many more issues.
They wear their
Many.
flaws
Yes.
right on their hat.
But Democrats need to be like what you said before. They need to embrace that, people are not 100% good or 100% bad. So embrace candidates who don't align with you 100% of the time. Because Republicans are like, oh yeah, he's got a gay son, but okay, well, okay, but he also wants to deport Mexicans. So yeah, he's on our side.
True,
If I
true.
think again, if I
That's a good
simplify
analogy.
it. if I simplify it, but but for Democrats, we're like, oh, he needs to be, or he or she needs to be this, 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 this. What's your opinion on this issue? What's your opinion on this issue? What's your opinion on this issue? And if we do not align with the party,
Yeah,
100%, no, we're gonna kick you to the curb. And they're like, yeah, what now? Fuck you. And to me, that's, I think many Democratic voters, from what I've read, are very disappointed with that. And like that's why Republicans, for all their flaws, do seem to be more welcoming bunch, quote unquote.
the
Whether you
Republican.
want to be welcomed there is another question.
Yikes.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's just to me, so like Democrats really need to like actually take a step back and basically act like, hey, we are the normal side, and it shouldn't be that fucking difficult, especially compared to what's the other side about. It shouldn't be like, So yeah, that was my kind of point. Like, would Obama get elected? Because somebody would dig up the interview in 2006 or whatever he did it when he was running, and yeah, I was like, oh well, he's not pro-gay rights, so therefore we shouldn't have him as a president.
If you don't mind, I think those were like three questions, and I don't
That's
mind answering
there's
those.
no
The
question. Just like like tell me.
first, yes. I mean, no, I don't think he would because Hillary would have won, and I think we still would have had white lash. I think this country, as racist as it is, I think it's
Hmm.
more sad, to be honest. And we saw that with Kamala Harris because even though she locked up a lot of brown people, she was very qualified. Like a prosecutor, you
Hmm.
have a party that like claims to be law and order like 24/7, and then you have one of the highest law officials in the land, and all of a sudden she's not as qualified as a
Orange
reality
man.
star. Yeah, a fucking rapist, a felon, crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, your second thing with Obama with David Axelrod, So I've read his books, and that doesn't mean that I'm like the Obama historian.
Hmm.
But David Axelrod, his big campaign manager, that was strategic. He
Hmm.
gave everything. So and even with Hillary Clinton, the whole Democratic platform, they did that. You're right, they did that on purpose.
Hmm.
They all in lockstep said that they were for civil unions, and that was good enough. That was like a crumb to throw at the public
Yeah.
and be like, okay, see, I'm not totally homophobic. I'm I'm liberal enough to be like, cool. But I also, he's a religious person. And
Hmm.
so much that, again, Jeremiah Wright was a black eye on his campaign at the time. And it's funny that they used to call him Muslim when, again, he had the controversy with his pastor. I'm like, how do you have a pastor if you're Muslim?
Hmm.
So anyway, so I think that was very strategic. And I think that's what went wrong here. I am for trans rights. I believe I don't want to go cut off my penis tomorrow, but I definitely think that people should be able to do what they want to do.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's funny that like people in this country, they're upset if the child, like if you force their child to put on a mask in school or something like that. But then you're going to tell them how to raise their child if they want to go through transition or take hormones or something like that. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Where's the freedom of speech there? So but even though I do believe in that, I don't think that's a platform. The
Hmm.
trans community, as much as I want to support them and all, they are less than 1% of this country. And so to run your whole, and even the gay community, it is not half the country. It's not even a
Yes.
quarter of the country. I love them, but unless there's a gay candidate like Pete Buttigieg or something like that, he can champion that. I don't think that's a smart thing to make that on top of the platform. That's my answer on that.
Yeah,
I agree
but
with
that's
you.
why Republicans do it because it's a political football. It's like it's such an easy thing. It's like that's the one issue they point at. When they have nothing else to point at. It's like I don't know if you've seen the snippet of Laverne, or you familiar with Laverne Cox, the
I love it.
actress.
My godmother's a dentist.
Nice, nice. So she was just on The View or some sort of show like that, and
Yeah,
she said it well. She was like because they asked her about like
not surprised.
Donald Trump and all that, and she basically said you like they blaming the wrong one percenters. Like you want to blame all the problems on trans people, and like and basically the point being they want us to fight culture wars, so we forget about like class war, especially in America. And so she said, they are trying to point a finger at us one percenters. We should be pointing a finger at a different one percenters. And I'm like, yeah, smart.
Yeah, like the French Revolution. You're right. The bourgeoisie, free Luigi. Uh,
There
I'm
is.
with Bill Burr. Like I know it's extreme, and hopefully, if I ever run for politics one day, we don't.
Mhm,
But I'm with Bill Burr. Figuratively, he said
mhm.
we should shoot all billionaires. He said, And I brought this up to my parents, and they were receptive to it. It was a safe space. Again, I'm not
Hmm.
hopefully
Hmm.
I don't get shot in the foot for this. But I don't I believe in a free market. I believe in capitalism, but not unchecked. And
Yes.
I and if there are people homeless, if there are people fighting to feed themselves throughout the week, fighting to feed their families, can't afford school, all those are basic essentials and stuff like that, there is no room for billionaires.
Hmm.
Like you should be allowed to be rich, that's fine, but not at the cost of people. And
And
so
Kamala did have a plan for that. And yeah, it's almost like, the one of the richest people right now, Elon Musk, that's why he contributed $250 million to Donald Trump. We will never know. How would we ever, how could we ever put one plus one together? And he's already gotten like, major investments on that. Just how much stuff he, threw to not X, sorry, the Tesla and SpaceX. But yeah, he's all over fucking X's.
hypermasculinity has been hugely marketable for a long time, way more
Hmm.
marketable than feminism. And I am more feminist than I am hypermasculine.
Hmm.
But you're not, you don't need to sell me.
Hmm.
I'm always going to vote for liberal platforms. But this country, like I said, is more sexist than it is racist.
Hmm.
And so, in order to sell trans rights, in order to sell abortion, I remember the same guy that voted for Jill Stein. He's like, "Oh, the Democrats thought they were going to get my vote just for abortion because of Roe versus Wade being
Yeah.
shot down." That's crazy, in my opinion. I'm like, that's not, but that is the strategy, in my opinion, the Democrats have to go by. Not being like, no, 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 that they don't care about these things. They just can't champion it anymore. And
Hmm.
to your point before, where you were saying that they were more welcoming. I don't agree with that. I don't think the GOP or the Republicans are more welcoming. I think on the grassroots level, you can help us get into power, but once we get there, Moses, you're not part of the promised land.
Like on
That's the
a
and
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
opposite of the Democrats. The Democrat actually no, the same thing. My bad, the same thing. They'll be like, no, no, my bad. The opposite. They'll say, you can't help us get to the White House. We'll include you in the White House, but you
Hmm.
can't help us get there. And the opposite of the Republicans, you could help us get there. Tim Scott, black people, all those guys.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of other blacks that helped them get into the office. But once we get there, it's gonna be all my people.
Yep.
And the cool
As
people.
as the unfortunate saying goes, it's great, quote unquote, to be a token candidate, but the tokens get spent, and
Yeah.
that's the problem with that. But what I meant by more welcoming But what I meant by more welcoming, it's more about on on the surface, on a very deep surface. If you do not look behind the curtain, they seem all on one side, right?
Yeah. They're better.
Unfortunately, and even with which is fucking insane. But even still, they still seem as a one party, whereas Democrats, depending on where you look,
We're
they
not.
seem sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they do seem like a bunch of tiny children who are like, but I want this, I want this, no, I don't want this. And I'm like, guys, go in a room together, make a talking point, and you all can kind of stick to, and that's it. Don't air your like grievances on an air because that makes you look pathetic. And then Fox can use it to be like, oh, look how these
You're
behave,
right.
and they want me to, and they want Americans, pure-blooded Americans, to vote for these children. No, that's why we need to vote for Donald because he's alpha. I'm like,
That's what I'm saying. Like you could still champion trans rights.
yeah, yeah,
You don't have to make that the focal issue at the debate. And
but
once you do that, once you bring that up,
mhm,
the Republicans unite against stuff like that.
yeah,
So it made it
that's the problem.
easier. Like when they brought up the Haitians and stuff like that. Yes, of course, a lot of people want to have empathy for all groups, but that was a big thing during
Mhm.
the first Trump campaign. He was banning Muslim countries. He was banning anything brown. So if you bring up something like that, like racial justice, they're just that's like a grand slam for them. They're like, and they're very good at being united, and they're not good at convincing people they're not racist with their origins of thinking.
Yep,
They don't care. They're in
yep.
power now, and so they're like, he kind of what's it called? He fashioned it. He made racism cool again. He made sexism cool again.
He normalized it, yes.
Yes, he normalized it. Yeah, and it's really sad. And yeah, no, it makes it again. I do think, and I guess is the exceptionalism a part of me. I do think we'll rebound, and that's what democracy is. It is a pull. As much as I want it to be more liberal,
Hmm.
that's the way that it goes. The pendulum. That's the reason why this country is like that. It is supposed to be a tug of war. And as much
Yep.
as I like that, I want it to go more left. It's never going to be like it's always just going to keep going boom, boom. And I got to accept that.
Well, since we, made everybody very sad listening to this,
You're the host. You transition. You got this.
hopefully everybody feels as well as we are right now listening to
We're
this.
fine. We're fine.
Now, so no, but let's since again we've solved all the issues, obviously.
Thank you. Thank you.
Two most qualified guys to talk on any of these issues.
Right?
100%.
Film guys.
100%. I actually am excited to what are you gonna tell me now because so
Yeah,
you're
sure.
native New Yorker and
Yes.
you live there.
Yes.
So if I were to ask you, hey, I'm coming over there for a week, where do you tell me, oh, we need to go this, we need to go see this, we need to eat at these places? What would be your recommendation for like a week trip?
Sure. I would, whether I was hosting you or not, like
Hmm.
at the beginning, like as your
Hmm.
tour guide,
Yep.
I would, if you're really dead set on like the tourist stuff, like Times Square and stuff like that, I would give you the option of you go yourself because real New Yorkers stay away from those
Yeah, I
areas.
know. I know.
Um, but like if you really like need me to, I'll be like, yeah, sure. Like I'm not gonna be an asshole about it. Like, okay, cool, I'll take you around. But if you really want the exceptional experience, we bypass that.
Hmm.
Even the Statue of Liberty, all that kind of stuff, like you should do that right in the beginning of the trip, either by yourself. Actually, I like the Statue of Liberty, so that's something I would do too. But
Nice.
when it comes to like real New York, I would take you to the outer boroughs. I would take you to Brooklyn. I would take you to even Queens, especially for food. Food, we
Hmm.
have Queens. I know it's another exceptionalism thing, but Queens has the most diversity more than the Ottoman Empire. We have more cultures and languages than
Hmm.
the height of the Ottoman Empire. That's huge, and that's huge in cuisine. When I
Hmm.
went to school in Jackson Heights, Queens, we had Northern Boulevard that was full of Colombian food. We had other corners with El Salvadorian food. We're not that far from Flushing, where there was a lot of Asian culture and stuff like that. So one of my friends, and to sum up, not to give you a long answer, one of my friends, she knows that we're filming, she doesn't know you, but she
Hmm.
knows, and she's from Czech. That's funny.
Oh,
She's
nice.
and she was there before the war, before the war started. So like I dated somebody from Slovakia and I
Hmm.
dated someone from Czech. And I remember they used to clash. They used to be like, and I didn't know until I started dating them. But anyway, she was very thoughtful with her gift and she got me a film tour pass. And it went all across the city, Manhattan, all the boroughs of all the top movie spots. So
Hmm.
for instance, I know you're a film buff.
Yes.
I would take you to where they filmed Men in Black, where they had the spaceship at the US Open. I would
Hmm.
take you somewhere like that. Harry Met Sally, Cat's Deli, where they had the Super Bowl ad, even though that's sacrilegious to put mayonnaise on your pastrami sandwich, and I'm a
Hmm.
vegan, but I used to love pastrami sandwiches. So yeah, that kind of stuff, like that takes you to real New York, in my opinion.
Okay.
The commercialized Times Square, especially that there's no red light district, especially that it's all Disneyfied. It's just too commercial. It's just too
Hmm.
commercial. They're not where the real New Yorkers are. Those are where all the tourists are.
Yeah.
So then I would take you to all the like the hidden gems.
Okay. Okay. Can you give me like one or two like what would you consider as like hidden gems? Like many people might not know about if they are not native New Yorkers.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Not
So
to spill all the secrets, by the way. Like
ah,
I don't want you getting into any
funny.
like New York troubles here.
It's so funny that you mentioned that. So I'm big in social media. That's part of my job. But on top
Hmm.
of that, I enjoy it. I don't know if you heard about the influencer Keith Lee. He just went to Britain recently. He's a big food critic, and
Okay.
he goes to like a lot of mom and pop stuff. That's why people don't, in my opinion, don't understand him. He doesn't go to like big commercial spots. He on purpose goes to like really hidden spots.
Okay.
And so he went to London recently, and he's been getting a lot of flack because the best food in Britain, in my opinion, is outside food. Like they can't cook.
Hmm.
And so he exposed them for that. But anyway, back to over here. So he had an interview one time. They were like, "How come you haven't been to New York?" And actually, after that interview, he did go to New York. But at
Hmm.
the time, he said, "Well, the reason why I don't is because that's not the concept of this show. When people recommend somewhere in New York, they're going to give me somewhere where like I have to be on a line waiting and stuff. And that's not the type of places I go to. I go to like again these like really hidden gems. So that already crosses that. And then second, back to your point, New Yorkers, if it's somewhere good, they're not going to tell you
Yeah, yeah,
because they don't want you frequenting their favorite spot. And
correct.
that's hard. I was like, oh my God, that is so true. That is so true. They're not gonna tell you the good spot, but I don't care. That's fine. I actually, in my dad doesn't like this. My dad, oh, this place is too crowded. And me and my mom, I like when we used to go out to eat together back in the day, I was like, me and my mom were like, no, that's great. It's packed. That means it's good. That means like people really love this. If you have a place with like two customers and shit like that, the place sucks. But anyway, I used to bring my dates to this place. It's a little bit near Midtown, but like right on the outside. It's called the Highland Park,
Hmm.
and it used to be an old rail station, and then they turned it into a park. And so you walk across it. It takes you from Midtown into like Chelsea area, the 20s in the streets.
Hmm.
It's beautiful. You get to see the skyline. You get to see the Hudson River. They have like little walkways and little amphitheater things. They have shops on it. And so you're basically like, again, you're on a railroad track, an old railroad track, and a park at the same time. And you're walking all across the city. And at the end of it, again, you're ending up in a far destination. You already walked a quick route of all the city, and you get to see great scenery. And it's just really nice. I used to, like I said, that was like a nice little like my little date spot. Like, hey,
Hmm.
let's walk on the High Line. And when you get off in Chelsea, again, that's a great area. That's great food, Chelsea Pier, great concerts, great venues. So that's like one of my hidden gems. The one place that I haven't been that just opened up recently is the Little Islands. And
Okay.
that's actually nearby the Hudson, that big copper thing that they just made, and the HBO building is in there too, and Lululemon, all those big spots. Yeah, no, stuff like that, things that like New Yorkers haven't really seen yet, and that is just extraordinary, and it's a big reason why I love this city.
Okay. So last question before we move on.
Yeah, sure.
So again, you being a native New Yorker, I know this might be not controversial, but it might be a hard thing to say. Which one is your favorite pizza place? Like, do you have a specific one you're like, oh, this is the best pizza in New York, hands down?
No,
Okay.
so in my opinion, most New York pizza is great and
Okay.
elite. My dad got into an argument with me over this. And this is why it holds true in my opinion and most people's opinion in New York. You're not a real New Yorker.
Hmm.
He tried to claim that deep dish pizza was better than New York pizza, and I was like, "See, this is why you're not a New Yorker. This is exactly why we don't accept you."
Yeah.
Stuff like this. And I lived in the Midwest, and deep dish pizza is delicious. Detroit deep dish pizza, Chicago deep dish. But it's a meal. It's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
Answer your question, and this is going to go back to movies. I am a big goofy movie fan.
Nice.
And you remember when the friend, the large friend, he was eating the pizza and the cheese was like that's how my pizza should be. So I don't care where it's from. It could, and a big popular pizza spot here is Joe's Pizza.
Mm.
The I used to work in Dumbo, Brooklyn, and so Juliet and what was the other one? Grimaldi's is like the oldest pizza shops in New York, and they're good, but they try to appease like the tourism, so
Hmm.
they try to make it like more artisan, and I don't like that. I like it to be orange, greasy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's like nothing the Italians ever imagined.
Hmm.
No, so as long as it's got like the main aesthetic, again, it looks unhealthy. like 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 someone's like tempted to blot it out with like a fucking napkin or something like that.
Yeah.
That like you bring me somewhere like that, I'm like, all right, this is New York pizza. I don't
Hmm.
even care if it's a dollar. I don't even care like how much it costs. So and a lot of people say the bagels and here are different because of the water.
Hmm.
Like we're one of the embracers of like fluoride and all that good stuff. So, and I've had pizza in other places, and people think I'm really elite. They're like, "Oh, well, it's not." I'm like, "No, it's not." And I don't care if you bring it to California and call it California New York pizza. It's not New York pizza. If it's not here, it's not New York pizza. So there is no particular place. Again, I mentioned the very famous spots that are here, but they tried too hard. If you really love good pizza, it's pretty much everywhere over here.
Nice. Nice. I need to go. I definitely need to go because I've never been to not only New York, anywhere in the United States. I still haven't visited. So I want to.
I haven't been to Scotland. I would love that one day. Oh
See?
my God.
See? We can swap for a week. Let's go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, but well, with that, we can move to the this or that game where
Yeah,
I'll give you two options and you'll tell me which one would you prefer and why.
sure.
So, TV shows or movies?
Oh man, film. I did
Film.
movies.
So, do you still watch TV, but like you prefer movies?
I love both, but film and TV, sorry, movies get the edge because I'm a big for instance, actually I do both, but
Hmm.
the one the one I enjoy more is like the Oscar and BAFTA season.
Okay. Okay.
Gold Globes, all that kind of stuff. Like I am a big, so that rings more true to my heart. Plus, I'm a big indie movie fan. I'm a big
Nice.
independent movie fan. I know a lot of people think that the Brutalist director is just like just came on the scene, but I've been a big fan of his work for a long time. I
Hmm.
just saw the movie recently, so good. So yeah, at heart, I'm a film buff. Again, I told you about the film and but that was a film and TV tour too. They had other TV stuff on that too, but it was
Hmm.
mostly film. Yeah, film will always have a spot in my heart. And of course, I'm a big TV person. Oh my gosh.
Of
I watch
course.
all, again, this is very OCD and nerdy of me. When the Emmys come out, I try to make sure that I at least like tried the show.
Hmm.
Uh, I usually finish it, but if it's like really garbage, I won't. But most of
Fair.
the time, and that didn't happen this Emmy season. The shows that they nominated, I enjoyed,
Hmm.
like Menendez Brothers and Landman with what's his name, Billy Bob Thornton. I enjoyed, but yeah, no, I will. Film gets the nod for me.
Nice. Tea or coffee?
Ooh.
Mm,
To stay awake, coffee. I prefer tea, like taste wise, but I guess coffee's gonna have to win because I need to stay awake.
fair. Uh, What's your order for like coffee?
Oh, I'm black.
Just
I know,
black.
I know I'm half black, but I don't like my coffee like me. I like it just straight black.
Okay. Fair. Money or free time?
Oh man.
I know.
Wow. And especially as content creators, like we you know how much we value free time. I'm gonna have to go with money because it is harder to create time and to free time when you are broke.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%. That's all you need to say, really. That is
May I
very
ask
true.
you a question real quick to counter that?
Tell me.
Would you rather 24 hours still say the same,
Hmm.
but you don't have to eat shit or fuck? Or would you like to keep all three of those
Hmm.
and 36 hours in a day?
I would say 36 hours
Gotcha.
because to me, I don't sleep that much anyway. And
But I
and
do fuck a lot. No, I'm joking.
I was gonna say it's a problem in my life, sex life, but hey, we don't have to talk
I'm
about
joking.
that. I'm such an alpha man, just like 10 women at once. Oh, of course. No, but and not to be too much TMI, but I don't spend that much time on the toilet, so like that never bothers me. So I'm like, yeah,
Same.
about to have 36 hours. That means I can do more and watch more movies. So yes, and I don't, like I usually sleep like 6 hours, maybe sometimes five. So like I'm fine.
Scotland, we got to put more fiber in this guy's diet. No, I'm joking.
So next one is honesty or other people's feelings.
Okay.
Tell me.
Wow, right, the sociopath.
No.
Honesty or other people's feeling. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like 15 years ago would have been honesty, but like lately, especially being 38 years old, I've lost a lot of friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my family members are having families. I'm not at the moment, so I'm gonna have to go with other people's feelings. Me personally, honesty is better. I could even take the honesty,
Mm-hmm.
fine with it, but a lot of people are not built like me, so I'm gonna have to go with other people's feelings.
Got you. Got you. Summer or winter?
Oh, summer all day. I am a person that has to shovel
Mm-hmm.
snow. So here's a hot take. When people tell me they enjoy snow, one of the first questions I ask them, and I go, "Do you shovel?"
Mm-hmm.
No, or they're from somewhere that doesn't have snow, or they have an apartment and they don't have to fucking shovel. I'm like, you don't count. You don't
Mm-hmm.
count. So people get upset with me. I'm like, you're lucky that I am not Mother Nature, Gaia, or anything like that, because I would abolish winter. I would even like, what about fall? What about nope, summer all year round. I want like I want to be hot as balls all day. I don't like cold at all.
If you don't like cold, there are countries in this world you can move to and never see summer or sorry, never see winter or fall ever in your life. So like, it's always an option.
I know. And that's why I'm glad that New York doesn't have summer all year round because
Hmm.
we have like again we have like foot traffic 11 million people. Nobody would live in California.
Hmm.
Nobody. If we had the tropical weather that you're talking about in other regions, the population here would be like 30 million. It would be like because that's a big
Insane.
reason why people don't like it here because that's probably one of the number one reasons they don't like it here
Hmm.
because of what is it called the blue season. What's it called where like you get like seasonal depression.
Hmm.
That's huge over here.
Ah, I see. Okay. Never. No, I know there is a seasonal depression. We, as a person who lives in Scotland, oh, I know. It's much worse here.
Yeah.
But no, I've heard of like, New York winters can be rough. So I've heard of that.
Yeah, but your scenery is a little better in the winter.
It is quite
A
nice,
little
I'll
more
say.
gothic.
It is quite nice out here. Like I'll say yes, yes. Probably the most important question of all: ninjas or pirates?
Ooh, that's a great question. Wow. I'm going to have to go with ninjas
Okay.
as I don't love the sea so much. Both you're probably gonna die early. I watched Shogun. Shogun was great, even though there's not ninjas. Those are more like no. I'm gonna have to go with ninja. I'm a big fan of Japanese culture, Asian culture. Um, the only reason why I would have went pirates is because I love comedy, and
Hmm.
so I feel like there would be like a lot of that kind of thing going on. But no, I think ninja. I stand by ninja.
Fair. And the last question: free will or destiny?
Wow, damn.
I know.
I know. I love it. Ow. Damn. Free will. Free will.
Okay.
And I'm not a spiritual person.
Hmm.
I do feel like there is an ounce of destiny in there. So
Hmm.
again, I say free will, but I do feel like I'm saying 90% free will. There's like a 10% higher power out there or a life chessboard or something like that where I think that we're on a like Donnie Darko. I feel like we are on a path.
Hmm.
Like it's flexible.
Yeah. So like you can influence most of your path, but at the one point you would have still ended up where you eventually will end up anyway. That kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just not linear. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, and before we move to the movie or flex part of the podcast, do you have any hot takes you're willing to share with us?
No, I think I gave you a lot. I don't know.
That
I
is
could.
true. No, yeah, that is true. And we did have a nice political discussion
Yeah,
like earlier on. So like, you know what? I
of
think we've covered that actually.
we have. I'm a hot take kind of person.
Fair, fair. So with that, we can move to the flex part of this podcast where I'll ask you. Then, so wait, before that, how is it? So is it not Vinson? It's how do you pronounce your name?
It's yeah, you said it. Wow, you said it correctly, and it's
Oh,
fun. My I have Scottish roots, so that's funny. But the name is not. It's like Roman Catholic,
mm-hmm.
and my dad is black, so like I don't even know where that came from. But anyway, yeah, it's Vincent. Vincent, you said it
Vinson.
correctly.
Okay, perfect.
But for a lot of people people butcher the weirdest names, so
Mm-hmm.
actually, to make
I
it easy.
never seen it before, so I'm like, how do and with my great thing with English as a non-English speaker, like I've only been talking English in the last 15 years or so, so like some break needed.
You're amazing. Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's French, and most people, and I'm not Haitian at all, but a
mhm.
lot of Haitian people have it as a last name. I don't know anybody
Ah,
first name. I
mhm,
met someone that used it as their Instagram handle. It's like hello Vincent. And I was like, oh, that's so cool that I've never met anybody with that as a first name. And he goes, oh, that's not my first name. I just thought it was cool. I
mhm.
just thought the spelling was cool. I'm like, so what's your real name? And he goes, Charles. I was like,
Yeah, how do you get from there to Vincent? Like,
yeah, I'm like, wow, you really thought my name was that cool? That like, all right, I didn't think so, but keep going.
but see, that somehow like must be kind of flattering though. Like, oh, okay, cool, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm the third, so for a long time I like being original, so I was like, oh. But my
I see.
dad, it's funny, he converted to Muslim, and you're
Hmm.
supposed to change your name. He never did, but technically he's supposed to be like, what's it called, Jamal Muhammad.
Hmm.
And my granddaddy, who again gave us the name, he legally changed his name to Vince. So one time
Ah.
I said, Dad, if you ever make that official, I'm senior. I was like, Granddaddy changed his name from Vincent to Vince.
Hmm.
You're gonna name yourself Jamal, and I'm the only lasting. And they complained about it in the beginning because when I wanted to be a full-time actor, I wanted to change my name to Vince James, my middle name,
Hmm.
Vince James, just like Brad Pitt, like what I'm saying,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. And they were like, "Oh, what's wrong with your name?" And look at where we are right now.
To be fair, I can imagine that, like, in a trailer starring Vince James, like a next big blockbuster action hero.
Big
No, so
divorce, big divorce settlement between Angelina Jolie.
yes, Vince James.
Thank you.
So, Vincent, what is the last new movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything 2020s.
Well, I'm into Oscar season, so here we
Yeah?
go. My pick for
Hmm.
Oscar this year is Anora, and I'm not
Nice.
trying to be basic. That was one of the first ones I saw.
Hmm.
I'll go with that. If you want to hear more, I can, but that's my go-to at the moment.
I would like to, but no spoilers because I have missed that one. However, I
Well, I
just
think
discovered that the cinema here actually does like Oscar screenings. Surprisingly,
hey,
they've never been
cool.
done before, and it's being shown tomorrow evening. So I'm hoping to catch it tomorrow evening and actually saw it before the Oscars. So, but yeah, no, we can talk about it. I heard great things about it. So
My only prep to you is to have an open mind. There's a lot of things where people will be like tropey and stuff and like snobbish about it. Be like, well, that you, I'm sure you're in film groups also. I'm on a film
mhm,
buff on Facebook, and one person was like, I forgot what movie it was. They were like, Amelia Perez.
yeah.
This is up there with Lord of the Rings. Now, first of all,
Hmm.
obviously all art is subjective. I like Lord of the Rings,
Hmm.
but I don't like put it like on the pinnacle and stuff. So like for you to be like that's your go-to for like Oscar cinema like representation just to prove that Amelia Perez is not. So
No, I think the point was there. Like I haven't seen Emilia Perez, but I'm also wanting to watch it before the Oscars. But I think the point was like it has 13 or 14 nominations, or like I think 13, so it puts up like like one of the most nominated movies ever, like ever in history. Like it's up there when it comes to. I think the record is like 14, but like 3 or 4 movies. So I think that's what they were hunting at, maybe. I
I
don't know.
agree. I agree that's what they were hunting at,
Hmm.
but it's also depending on the year's competition.
Yes.
So like that's why I don't think that you could ever compare each
Hmm.
one like that because again, that's what they were running up against.
No, I strongly believe we judge each movie based on its own merit, not
Yeah.
against each other. So, yes,
I thought it was a wonderful film. I don't think it's going to win a lot of awards, especially with the controversy with what's her name?
the main actress,
Uh,
Carla.
yeah, I forgot her last name. I forgot her name, but she was great. She was good. I'm not gonna lie, like I try not to let their persona get in the way of me, picking,
Yeah,
but that was pretty bad with the stuff that she was going through. I'm not
yeah.
not a big fan of you being nasty on Twitter. I don't care, including myself.
Wait. So, do I get it right? You do like Emilia Perez, like the movie?
I loved it. I thought it was great. I hate musicals.
Wow.
I'm not a musical fan, but I thought that they did a very good job. It was for me, I don't know if you've noticed this about me. I'm not a person who ingests film and TV for entertainment.
Hmm.
I'm there to learn. I'm there to see new things,
Hmm.
whether it's a television show, a television character, an archetype. When they were big into anti-heroes with Dexter and all that kind of stuff, even Breaking Bad, I've
Hmm.
never been to New Mexico. So to
Yeah.
see something, I've never been a teacher. I've never had cancer.
Hmm.
I've never been a chemist. So I'm looking whenever I'm watching. Same thing with Amelia Perez. Not to ruin it, I don't live in Mexico.
Hmm.
I'm not part of the cartel. I'm not a lawyer that lived in Mexico and that lives in the States now. There's a bunch of things, and there's one more element, but I want to ruin it for you.
Okay.
But so there you go. So, or even a wife of a cartel member living in the United States. That's a big controversy with Selena Gomez. I thought it was great. The
Hmm.
thing with Honora, again, not to spoil anything,
Yeah.
but when people go, Honora, not worthy of this, blah, 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 I'm like, well, then name me a movie that is like Honora.
Hmm.
And that's my same thing with Emilio Perez. Tell me a movie where you could, and those are the ones that are the top contenders for me, where
Hmm.
it is so different, so unique. That's why it's nominated, not because it's like better quality or something like that. For instance, when I worked at Brute Media, one of the people wanted Roma to win,
Hmm.
and I'm a big fan of the director. What's his name? The
Alfonso
Mexican
Cuarón.
Alfonso Cuarón, one of the best. Gravity, great cinematography, and they were big into that cinematography. Cinematography is great. I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, when it comes, he's an amazing filmmaker, but it was a
Hmm.
boring story. It was a boring story, and it wasn't a unique story either. I was like, so in my opinion. if you could be like, if you could stand alone and have no comparisons to other movies, you're a big contender for a best picture.
I okay, okay. I'm not gonna agree. I'm not gonna agree there. It wasn't a boring movie. Roma was great. I mean, there's no slander
Oh
here.
no, I didn't think it was boring. I just thought it was a boring story. I
Oh,
love the
okay,
I
okay, okay.
enjoy, especially the cinematography. Oh my
Oh
God.
yeah.
I
And
just think like if Alfonso Cuarón wasn't directing that, that's a boring story.
oh, okay. Like no, yeah, I see what you mean. But yeah, like that's the flavor he adds. Like his direction of that
Touch.
story. Yeah, yeah. Okay, no, okay. In that case, yeah, I agree. But the other point I was gonna mention, you are one of the few people I know now that like or love Emilia Perez because I'm part of a small group and most people who've seen it, like a film group, and most people who've seen it hate it. So
Oh.
I'm kind of excited to watch it because I'm like, damn, there's a lot of heat about this movie because apparently like it doesn't portray Mexican culture well, doesn't portray transgender experience well. It does everything wrong, apparently. I don't know. I haven't
Well, in
seen
my
it yet.
opinion, not that those things are wrong, they're
Hmm.
correct.
Hmm.
But I think the way that people want to solve it is wrong.
Hmm.
I do think back to Chris Rock, he's like my philosopher.
Okay.
He said when they made the movie The Mexican with Brad Pitt,
Hmm.
you mean to tell me we live in LA, Hollywood, you can't find a real Mexican or you
Oh
can't
yeah.
find. So, yes, casting does get lazy and very whitewashed, but
Hmm.
I don't think the solution to representation every time is to just go find that person. Like I
Hmm.
am Sam, like you don't always have to. That's what acting's all about.
Yes.
And portraying different experiences. I don't think that a white guy should be doing the Malcolm X movie. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, but I do think that like filmmakers and creative artists, one of my favorite bands is the Black Keys,
Hmm.
and they do blues music. They do like grassroots blues music, Eminem, rap, all that kind of stuff. I am a big fan of unorthodox and creating art from that.
Hmm.
And so I want to give that same credence and that same flexibility to filmmakers. The French filmmaker, what's his name, that did Amelia Perez.
Oh, I know who you mean, but I don't know his name. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's actually a big problem with this year's documentaries and short films. A lot like the Iranian film, Cyprus, Shadows of Cyprus. That is an Iranian film, but because of all the sanctions that happened between U.S. and Iran and the Iran deal and all that kind of stuff, it had to get distributed through Germany.
Hmm.
And so they're saying a lot of like representation. So to answer your question, so I know that this is very personal. I
No.
don't like musicals. So the fact that like a film spoke to me and I don't even like that genre, I don't
Hmm.
even like that way that that's delivered. That's why it shot to the top for me. I'm like, I hate musicals and I enjoyed it. So
Okay.
that's a very personal take for me. But back to the representation thing, I think that's lazy. I don't
Hmm.
think like, for instance, I'm a biracial person. I don't think an exact biracial person has to play me in my biopic. That's what
Hmm.
acting is all about. You have to act.
Yeah. No, 100%, 100%. And just to get his name, like the director's name up, I just had it and I lost it. It's Jacques Audiard.
Yeah,
He's a French guy, so I probably butchered that to fuck because I never took any French lessons. So French people, sorry. Just to give him some flowers. But yeah, like I again like so I feel very sorry by the way because we started about Anora and then we shifted into Emilia Perez. My fault.
they're both just really unique. That's my point. They're really
Yeah.
unique. Even when we exit this Oscar season, I don't
Hmm.
think they're gonna they're either gonna copy,
Yeah.
and that's the only way you could do it now. There's no films like it, and I
Hmm.
think that's a big reason why they got selected.
Yeah. Okay, again, like you're one of the few people who are now very open about loving that movie, and I really like it. Like
Oh,
it for you.
thank you.
I want to see it for myself because like I'm a big on. I'm most of the time, not most, but many times I'm like one of them was like the people I follow on Letterboxd is like 2 stars, 2 stars, 1.5, 1.5, 3 stars, and I'm like, okay, here I go again with my 4.5 stars, and it's not even on purpose, but I try to really rate and watch movies with my own eyes, with my own mind. And if I
Perfect.
like something, I'm not gonna pretend I didn't like it just to blend in with the crowd. So I'm curious to like
Good.
watch, especially Emilia Perez. Like Anora, I know like many people love. Like that's like now currently it's a front runner really even for a Best Picture. So great. I cannot wait to watch it, and I hope I can get to watch it in a cinema because that'd be awesome. Because I missed it the first time, and and because here it only played for like a week and a half, if that
Uh-huh.
even, and it just got pushed. And I'm like,
My friend was upset that Angelina Jolie missed. She got the Golden Globe, but she missed out on the
for
Maria.
Maria. Yeah.
That was a wonderful film. I underestimated Angelina Jolie
Hmm.
wrongly. She was amazing. She deserved that nomination. She probably would have deserved a nomination here. But
Yeah.
my point is, even my friend, and I have a feeling you're going to do the same as me.
Hmm.
I think you're doing yourself a disservice, especially as a film buff or film critic, if you go into any
Hmm.
movie without a blank canvas. If you
Yeah.
go in there with a checkbox, if you come in there with a rubric, if you come in with like again Lord of the Rings, if that's your standard, you need to get that all out of the picture. Like whatever your
Yes.
favorite film is, erase that from your memory when you go to see these films because that's not how it goes. Like it has to be totally different experience each time.
Correct. No, hey, I've said this exact thing several times, so I'll be more than happy to repeat it. I
Like,
go into every movie hoping what I'm about to see, whether it's in a cinema or home streaming, right?
yeah.
I'm hoping this will become my new favorite movie of all time.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
again, like now, as I've grown older, not even that old, but now I'm trying to watch less and less trailers to be as much like as surprised as I can be. Because like I think many trailers nowadays spoil a lot of movies, like spoil big
Yeah.
scenes.
And they put the
And
best parts in it now
yeah,
too.
yeah. So like I like now I still like now I know what Emilia Perez is about because I heard
I
people
know.
talk about it many times, right? Like you're not the last, well, you're not the first one to, so I've known about that like plot, but like 2 months ago when this controversy started, I'm like, I don't even know what a movie is about, but I still will watch it. Like, and again, like I know, like I knew what Anora is about, but I'm like, I don't know details, so I don't know the plot twists, but I do want to watch it. And that's my kind of like I went to see Brutalist. I
Ah,
had like next to zero knowledge about what that movie is about. I knew it's about Hungarian refugee in after World War II. That was it. I'm like, and coming to America, of course. And I'm like, and that's it. I didn't know anything else except for there's an intermission because it's a 3.5 hour movie. And I fucking loved it. I was like, this is a
I
great
thought that
movie.
was
Like
cute that they too. I thought that was cool that they did the intermission with the that was
yeah,
cool.
that picture just comes on a screen and Felicity Jones like voiceover and it's just like picture and it's like
So good.
intermission. I was like,
She was so good. Oh my
she
God.
was like that movie.
Again,
I'm
she's not a
like,
paraplegic. She's not a, but that's what made the acting so good. Like
yes,
I believe that she couldn't walk.
yes. And again, yeah, and again, yeah. And that movie, 3.5 hours or three something,
It was quality though.
didn't feel like that at all. And even mine is like, yeah, the intermission helps, obviously. And any longer movie like that should have a fucking intermission built into it, just so. Every longer fucking like
Oh, okay. They got rid of
don't
that a long time ago. I hear
no,
you.
yeah, because they used to be the standard. That's why we used to have 4 hour movies
You're
because they
right.
used to be like oh intermission, 15 minutes,
Quality
grab a
time.
popcorn, go go take a piss, and like come back. And now I've said it many times again. I don't mind
I
longer
mind it.
movies, especially in home, right? Because you can pause it. But
Yeah.
if you want me to go to the cinema for like
Uh-huh.
3.5 hour, 4 hour movie, give me an intermission. If there's an intermission, not gonna bitch about it.
Okay.
And especially if you make it like Brutalist, where the first hour felt like hour 20 and the second hour to me felt like 40 minutes. It was insane for me
It
that I was so wrapped in that movie. I'm like, what, this is the end? Holy fucking shit, this was great. So like yeah, like Brutalist, I'm happy that I caught in the cinemas and that was an experience. That was yummy, very good.
so funny. The other one, yes, yeah, I mean for me too. That's so funny. The other things I didn't know about, like I didn't
Hmm.
really know he was Hungarian. I only knew
Hmm.
because and again, spoilers. So many people critiquing it. They did
Yeah.
the AI on the Hungarian voice. That was the only way I found that out. But I did know the origins of brutalism. So that
Hmm.
was the only thing that I knew coming into that. But that's so
Hmm.
funny. The elements that you knew was like completely different than me.
Exactly. And again, less I know about a movie, the better. I just watched The Girl with a Needle, the one of the Danish pics. Have you seen it?
Yes, I'm well, okay, so that you don't have to ask this again. I'm only missing three documentaries on the Oscar nominations, and I'm missing I'm Still Here. That's it. I've
Nice.
seen everything else.
Nice.
Yo, so I do love that movie, but I'm
I
disturbed.
didn't
I'm
know anything about that movie. I guess there was gonna be a girl with a needle. That was the only thing.
so
And I
that
was
we
like,
so the fact
right.
that we saw it, am I allowed to like spoil anything?
Well, now I've seen it, but let's try to talk around it. I think I know what you want to spoil, but let's try to talk around it. It's a
I
very
won't.
new movie.
For your viewers, I mean, your listeners. No, I was just and that's another thing. That's another thing that is a rubric for me,
Yeah.
right? I'm being a hypocrite. I love roller coasters.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the adrenaline. So if you're making me feel like shit, if you're making me feel like depressed, or
Mm-hmm.
even happy or jubilant, and with this one, disturbed, like it rocked me to my core, and I'm like, this is an amazing film. Like,
All I will say, exactly, it's amazing. All I will say, something I wrote in my letterbox review. This movie is really about how we create our own monsters, and sometimes those monsters are created from battles, and sometimes they are created because there's a need for them, without spoiling anything. And I think that wraps up that movie because if you
following
think
your
about,
advice today. That was
yeah,
awesome. That's a good critique.
it's like it wasn't. See, that's the thing. That wasn't even critic. I'm like, damn, and it's a beautiful movie, great performances. It's not comfortable movie to watch,
Oh,
especially if you're a woman.
yeah.
It's not gonna be comfortable. You're not gonna be happy watching it, but I think at the end, you're gonna be glad you watched it, maybe, hopefully.
No,
Who knows?
I disagree. I think it's a very polarizing film. Again, not to ruin anything.
Oh,
I think that
yes,
people don't like to be uncomfortable in movies.
no, 100%.
I think most people like to see, I think that's why a lot of people are oversaturated with Marvel and all that kind of stuff. They like to see what they want to see. One of
Yeah.
my neighbors, most of my friends like to be entertained. They like
Mhm.
to numb themselves out by watching the boob tube. And I think that we watch so much on screens that I don't think, in my opinion, that's not beneficial. If I'm not being enriched by it, then I am watching the boob tube. And then these screens are watching me at some point because of that. And when you were talking about the intermission, Martin Scorsese is one of my favorite directors. I love
Mhm.
what he said. He said, if you could watch one of your favorite Netflix binges, you could watch my 4 hour movie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
True. Like again, like I will say to even to that argument, I would say Marty, but I can watch 4 hours binges
Martin.
in my home where I have my controller with me and I can pause every
Sure.
time I want to refill my water or I want to pee. In a cinema, I'm one of those people. I don't want to miss even a second of a movie. So I don't want to go in the middle of a movie and like, ah, fuck, I need to go pee. So like I don't want to do that. So like, I always said and I did watch Killers of the Flower Moon in a cinema. Not
Okay.
meaning like I hold out, so like strong. So like I always said to like that argument, yeah, but the home is different. You have a remote. You can always pause every time you feel like it. You can go to the toilet. You can refill your water or a Coke or whatever you feel like, and come to it 2 3 minutes later. So like
When I was in undergrad at Indiana, I took a Bollywood course.
oh nice.
And so we definitely watched a lot of Bollywood.
Those
And
movies are long.
yes, sometimes 6, 7 hours long.
Yep.
So I was passing all the tests, not just passing. I'm big. I love film. So
Hmm.
of course I'm going to be immersed into it. And so I was getting straight A's, and I don't get straight A's in anything. And
Same.
so high marks. And so one day I showed up with a pillow, and my professor was livid, of course. And my professor's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Hear me out. I have the best grades in the class. I enjoy this. I picked this for a reason. I love Bollywood.
Hmm.
The stories are incredible. Every once in a while, I'm gonna need a nap."
Mm.
It's like it's like I can't watch 5 hours straight and not like you said. So this is a test to what you said. So I'm with you. I do.
Because most people, we are not programmed like that. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not, again, that's not the jibe at anybody. I'm not programmed like that. That's why I prefer to watch things at home where I can pause if I need to pee. I can pause if I need to refill my water. And I can unpause 2 3 minutes later. All is well with the world. But in a cinema, where it's like if you're asking me to invest 4 hours of my life into your movie, I will, especially if it's great.
Yeah.
Give me an intermission. And and this is how dying cinemas can actually sell you more popcorn and more Coke and more sweets and all that shit. So
It's
everybody
true.
wins. Except obviously you have less screenings, so it's not. I know it's not as simple, but I think still overall it probably would be beneficial even for the cinemas to have a second intermission in the movie or like an intermission in the movie so they can sell you more stuff. Huh.
If Nicole Kidman is listening to this or AMC, they need to hire you. Yes.
Nicole, please, Nicole, my biggest fan.
Love her. I love her. And
Oh,
no,
me too.
I'm a big, and that commercial, even though it's a commercial and it's sensationalized,
Mm,
is amazing. I'm with her. I'm with her. And Tom Cruise, I still love the cinema. I still
mhm.
love the silver screen, but I'm
Same.
with you on that. If it's a long film, it definitely deserves an intermission.
So we just covered Anora, Emilia Perez, Bollywood, and The Girl with a Needle. We covered a lot of stuff, so that's I like it. So what is the last teen quote unquote movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything between 2003 and 2019.
Okay, I got that ready. 2003 and 2019.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go John Q. John Q. I'm a big
Oh.
Denzel fan. I think that's one of his roles that he got robbed. As
Hmm.
far as, and I know that's weird because no, I'm with Whoopi Goldberg. Nobody gets snubbed. Like,
Yeah.
that's just you're not the Academy. Like, if the Academy was that predictable, we'd all be doing it, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, yeah, that was one of mine. That was one. That's the non-team movie, right?
That's isn't it 2002? But I'll give it to you. I know what you mean. It's on my Netflix queue to watch.
Okay. When you
John
wrote down,
Q is on my
okay,
queue to watch, actually. I know what is it about
you've
because
never
like
seen it? Oh, you'll like it. It's
no,
very, very good. Very
well,
Denzel, very
it's
strong.
Denzel. It's like duh. Like to me, like Denzel is like the echelon of actors who's like the movie can be mediocre, but Denzel always delivers like a at least A game, if not A plus. Like
Same thing with Alfonso Cuarón. You're right. You're right.
yeah, like he's got
He
his
can make
standard.
anything shit to gold.
Yes, like he's got his standard where like he like not every movie he's in is 5 out of 5. No, but if Denzel is in a movie, he will sell you whatever he needs to sell you to believe him. And I've always admired that about it. Like even Gladiator 2, he's probably the best part about Gladiator 2. Like
Oh, Gladiator 2. Yes, yes.
and
Um,
many people were like, he should
he
get
deserved that
supporting.
nomination.
Yeah, like many people, yeah, like he should have had like a supporting, note. And I'm like, I wouldn't hate that. Like, yeah,
Either.
he was a very great villain, like in that movie. He was like, like chewing up that scenery and just enjoying himself. That's why I'm so kind of bummed that he only has 5 or 6 movies in front of him and that's it. He's retiring. I was kind of like,
Wise.
I
Wise.
know, like to be fair, like
He's lying.
no, I hope, but also at the same time, look, he's 70 something now. And if he wants to chill, he's done more than enough to prove that he is one of the finest actors, not only in this generation, but to have ever lived.
Yeah.
So if the one of the finest, it's like Daniel Day-Lewis. If one of the finest actors we've ever had, they want to take a break or retire, it will pain me. I would like to see them more, but hey, who am I to argue with the best of the best? Like, who am I to tell Denzel, no, you need
Respect.
to keep doing movies?
Well, Daniel Day-Lewis, I think, is different because he's a method actor.
Oh
So I
yeah.
think he poured weight. Plus, he's not a filmmaker. He's just singularly
Actor.
an actor. And so
Mhm.
with Denzel, he directs, he produces. So even though I don't think he's going to retire on the screen, there is some truth to it because again, he has other things that he could lay back on. And plus, his sons are two filmmakers as well, an
Yep.
actor
Yep.
and a director. The piano, I think it was called The Piano Lesson or something, the one on
Yeah.
Netflix. But someone like Anthony Hopkins, who's more on the Daniel Day Lewis, he's not a method actor, but like he's a singular actor. That's why I said that because I feel like even when we're in our old age, you got to keep moving. You got to
Hmm.
keep. That's the only way to keep surviving. So I
Hmm.
don't. So Denzel, there's credence to what he said because again, he's not just going to. He's a great director. Fences. He's a
Oh
great
yeah.
director. So there might be truth to that. So it's not like he's going to be like sitting down at home and stuff, just retired. He'll always be in film.
I'm hoping so because again, like I cannot imagine Hollywood without Denzel, and I don't want to. But like,
I'm
it'll
biased
be.
too. I'm biased to when you said I'm always gonna want Denzel to be nominated. Not only am I a Denzel fan, but
Mhm.
are you familiar with Issa Rae?
Of course.
Great. Oh, good. Of course, I love that. She's when they asked her one time, like, who are you rooting for in the Oscars, she's like,
Everybody black.
yeah. So that's me too. That's me too. I don't get like I don't get like bent out of shape, but I'm always gonna root for diversity. So same thing
Hmm.
with Amelia Perez. Like I want different in there all the time. All the
Hmm.
time.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, what is the last quote unquote adult movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So, anything between 2002 and 1975.
Ooh. Casablanca.
That's slightly over.
Oh, 75. So
Yes.
I'm gonna go with yeah, that is over. I'm gonna go with Full Metal Jacket.
Nice. That is right in there. Yeah, that's wow. Stanley Kubrick. Yes.
Yes. I'm gonna kick down your head and shit down your neck. One of my favorite scenes.
I need to rewatch that because I've only seen it once, quite some time ago when I got into Kubrick and I watched all of his movies. To be
Yeah.
fair, it's he only did it, quote unquote, only like 14, 15, so it's not that big of a task. But I have watched all of his, and the Full Metal Jacket is, yeah.
Yeah, he's very the early Tarantino, very select movies, but very all very quality.
I what I admire about him and his filmography, neither movie directed are the same. 2001 is a different movie than Spartacus. Spartacus is a different movie to Lolita. Lolita is a different movie to Eyes Wide Shut. Eyes Wide Shut is different to Full Metal Jacket. It's like he tackled comedy, he tackled crime drama, he tackled sci-fi, he tackled a sex orgy movie, he tackled Lolita, like he Full Metal War movie with Full Metal Jacket. He tackled it all, like horror movie, The Shining, and most of them are like
But you made me
basically the
realize
best out of best in their category.
some
What
of
did you
the
say? You cut off a bit.
little sexual deviant Stanley Kubrick over there.
Oh yeah, I know, right? No, it's just like yeah, and Full Metal Jacket. Like I need to rewatch it, but I remember loving that one as well. I'm like, damn. Especially obviously the first half. It's like that training sequence. It's insane.
And that guy that played the military instructor, he was a real military
Yes,
instructor. So
yes.
that set up the trend of not always going for the actor, like going for the realism. And a lot of people do that now. The Wire, like getting actual people from the streets.
Oh yeah.
One of the nominees for best short film, Anuja, they took actual homeless girls from New Delhi and they
Mm,
in the film. It was very good. So
okay.
yeah, I think Stanley Kubrick. I'm sure it happened earlier, but that's like one of the first times I ever saw them just go and not get a traditional actor and get somebody that was real to the plot.
Well, if I remember correctly, he was supposed to be just an advisor to the actor they will select, but Stanley
You know that?
liked his energy and liked his
I didn't know that.
everything so much that he was like, "Oh, you know what? Why can't we just hire him?" And like, and now the dude is an actor. Arlie Army is like a pretty
Yeah,
decent actor.
he's deceased now, but yes,
Yes.
he definitely no, that's awesome. I did not know that. Thank you for that tip.
No. Again, my brain is full of useless movie trivia, so where it's only useful when I'm talking to movie people like you. Like, oh yeah.
I suck at years, so that's why when you corrected, it was like that makes sense. Like
No,
even
it's
when I
a,
used to be a teacher and I taught history, I was like, guys, I'm admitting this to you guys. I suck at years. I
it's all
was
good.
we do tests and stuff like that. As long as you know what happened,
Yeah.
I'm down. Like if so, you're always gonna get by me when you go 1970 or like 1930 or something like that. I just suck at timelines like that.
It's all good, man. So, do I presume the last old movie then would be Casablanca? That you would rate 5 out of 5?
Yes, but I'm gonna switch that. I'm gonna go
Okay.
Sound of Music. I'm
Sound
gonna
of
go with
Music. Oh, nice.
yes. Still holds up for me. I could still watch it today, and I enjoy it.
Didn't you say a few moments ago you didn't like musicals?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Interesting.
I know.
Interesting.
So there is a caveat to that. I
Okay.
grew up, so I think that's a big reason why like I'm like over saturated on it. My grandmother, Sound of Music, South Pacific, Singing in the Rain, love all those things. Great, all but like I I like musicals on the stage more.
Yeah.
I'll go see Hamilton. I loved you were talking about Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I love Book of Mormon.
Hmm.
But on television, I like dialogue. I
Yeah.
like monologues. I like good character development and stuff like that. Not that character development doesn't happen in musicals. I
Hmm.
just don't like everybody singing all the time. I like
That's
if I'm
fair.
watching something on TV or a film or something like that, I want to see them invoking emotion and stuff like that. And I feel like with singing, it's like kind of a filler most of the time. It's like, how do I liked Wicked. Wicked was good. I even like Wicked I've seen it on stage too. I enjoyed the movie too. So
Hmm.
it's not like I know I hate musicals. I really don't. But so that's what I'm saying. Like you could still deliver a musical to me. I'll still enjoy it, but I'm not gonna enjoy all of them. Like most of them, I'm not.
So, what makes Sound of Music so special then? Since it's your choice for that movie.
Um, Same thing with like what's it called? Life is Beautiful.
Mm.
I compare it to that, like something such a hard subject. So you could take something like Schindler's List.
Hmm.
It's such a heavy subject with Steven Spielberg and Liam Neeson. Um, but with Sound of Music, same thing with Life is Beautiful. Like they took something so grim
Hmm.
and it's like the backdrop, to be honest, the
Yeah.
Nazis, that it's not even something you really think about. And so the fact that like they were able to do that Julie Andrews. The fact that they were able to make you forget all the nasty things that were happening on.
Hmm.
I think it's a genius film.
Yeah, it is great. Julie Andrews still alive and well, so we're
Oh
happy
yeah,
to see
Vinson.
that. And Princess Diaries 3 is confirmed.
That's
So
right.
so
Oh, is she gonna be in it with Anne
I
Hathaway?
hope I
That'd
fucking
be
hope
great.
so. I
That'd be
really
great.
hope
I love
so.
her. I'm a big
Yeah,
fan. And
that
she's still
was
hot.
same. Same. Like I need to catch up on more of her movies, to be honest. I haven't seen as
Right.
many as I would like. But like
Yeah.
no, like Julie Andrews is great.
Oh, she's slept on for sure. You're right. Her
Mhm.
catalog is definitely very slept on. So
Yeah.
I encourage that move.
So I know you said you're not a date guy. So would you be able to say what's your favorite movie decade?
Yeah. Wow, that's a good one. I would have to say, wow, damn. Uh, I'm gonna go with now. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
now. I think people, and go back to Tarantino, I think more filmmakers. So the ones that go to film school,
Hmm.
I think they're very good at incorporating, like Stanley Kubrick. So, for instance, The Substance. They're
Yeah.
very good at taking elements from Kubrick and all these people and meshing it together.
Hmm.
I also think people like M. Night Shyamalan who just pick up the camera and just shoot. I think there's just so much talent now. I think there's so many great script writers out there, people that are great at adapting books into television and film. I think we're at the golden era. I know that like if I had to give like a quick answer, like something for my own indulgence, I do love the 90s. The 90s was more dramatic. So for instance, something like Forrest Gump and they have like John like I don't think it was what's his name, John Williams doing the soundtrack. But they had everybody doing soundtracks like that. Danny
Yeah.
Elfman, you know what I'm saying? It was all dramatic effects where
Hmm.
you need to. They could be eating a sandwich and like and you all of a sudden hear a flute or like a
Yeah.
fucking saxophone and shit like that. So I do enjoy that. They tried to over exemplify like the 20s and stuff like that, trying to make everything big and grand. But I like this time period now because it's more pure in my opinion. I think like
Mm.
filmmakers just want to give you a good story. Like it doesn't have to be filled with fluff anymore. Except for Marvel, of course, all that
Mm.
type of stuff. That
Yeah.
that one's to the extreme. So that's still happening. But people like us, we're getting our vegetables. We're getting our nutrients from these great films that are just film.
Like The Girl with a Needle.
Yeah.
Danish, Polish movie, just like beautiful. And
Yeah.
like I think I see your point. Like now, if you want to make a movie, there's never been a better time to do it because
Yes.
there's now like this the studio system still is there in place, but because
Yes.
of the streamers, because of the internet, because of the most of our phones can shoot 4K videos now, so you
Yeah, they're
can
better than some cameras now.
correct. So like you can well, Sean Baker famously shoots most of his movies on a like Tangerine, like on a fucking iPhone. Like that's a movie that was shot, and if I'm not mistaken, Tangerine is actually shot on an iPhone, not like Steven Soderbergh. Sometimes like, oh, this is shot on an iPhone, and then you look into it, it's a lens for an iPhone, so it's not like technically yes, but really, bro, no, but no,
But
but you're
Coen
doing well
Brothers,
for cinema.
Quentin Tarantino would have a heart attack.
Yeah. But Sean Baker is like one of them, like like oh yeah, I'll just shoot this like like a really like a dogma style, like like basically just all you hear is exactly what's happening. Oh, iPhone is all I have. Perfect. I'll just have an iPhone. And yeah, so like I see now that amount of talent. If you want to if you want to see a specific movie with specific themes, yeah, you should be able to find whatever you're looking for.
Good. I'm glad we agree on that.
No, yeah. So do you have any movie hot takes?
Other than I hate musicals, and you know, it's so funny. You're not the first person to call my hypocrisy. This is another area of genre, and that's okay. We're all
Mhm.
full of contradictions. I'm not
Yes, correct.
that. So one again at Brute Media, we had a
Hmm.
lot. They were all producers, television producers, news, all that kind of stuff. So of course they're
Hmm.
into pop culture, and so this was like the first of all, it was my favorite job that I ever had.
Hmm.
Uh, and the big reason was, again, we were on Slack always talking about movies and film and TV.
Hmm.
So one time I said, I don't like sci-fi.
Oh, damn.
I know, and it was so dumb. I thought it was a hot take, not on purpose. I didn't say to myself, "Oh, let me hot take." I just have verbal diarrhea like all the time, so that's
Hmm.
why they all seem like hot takes. Hot takes of shit. And my this person called me out. He goes, "But you like Star Wars. You like Jurassic Park. You like that." I was like, so I took it back. I was like, I like mainstream sci-fi. I am not like a deep. B movie sci-fi guy. Like I'm not like one of the so for instance, I don't like Battlestar Galactica. I don't
Okay.
like I don't like Black Mirror. I don't
Oh,
like
okay.
I'm not yeah, I feel like that's a big copy of and I don't even like the Twilight Zone. I'm not like a huge fan. I appreciate its part in history.
Hmm.
I've watched a few episodes, some classic episodes. Those are great. As a matter of fact, even with Black Mirror, I've seen like the very popular episodes. The
Hmm.
Daniel, I forgot how to pronounce
Daniel
his name.
Kaluuya. Yeah.
Yes, my guy from Skins and all the Jordan Poole movies. So, same thing with the musicals. I am very niche when it comes to that. I am very selective.
Hmm.
Not really selective. It's funny. Most genres I like the what's it called? The obscurity of it. But
Hmm.
when it comes to stuff that I don't like, I like the cream of the crop, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm like that got me thinking like is Twilight Zone and Black Mirror like they are like sci-fi, but I would also call them like like especially Black Mirror because I haven't actually seen. I still even haven't seen Twilight Zone the movie that's out there. I
No, I
still
haven't.
haven't seen that. But like Black Mirror, I'm all caught up, and like some of the like what I love about that show, it's not really like there's only one key element. Everything is like technology sci-fi, so there's like, always like some sort of element that doesn't exist yet, and there's a story. But most of them are like not sci-fi episodes, like in a sense, some of them are like thriller episodes, some of them are more like horror episodes. There's like several like actual horror episodes and like fucking scary. Some of them can be almost like a dark comedy, and it's like they have an
True.
element of like a techno sci-fi, a specific techno sci-fi. It was like, oh yeah, we developed this program that so and so can you can rewind your as things happen, you can rewind and actually see things from different angles and all that shit. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, is it sci-fi? I guess it is technically. Hmm.
Like I love Interstellar. I love what's the one with Amy Adams?
Oh,
Uh
Arrival.
another Quran. Yes, that's amazing. Arrival. It's one of my I
Yes.
cried during that. That's an amazing movie.
Hmm.
But I don't yeah, I don't oh, that's another hot take. I don't like anthologies.
Ah,
I like
that's
singing
why
stories. I like singing so for instance, Kinds of Kindness. I thought that was I didn't like that movie.
I still haven't seen that.
I appreciate I like the director, the guy because I loved
Yorgos
Poor, yes, I love
Lanthimos.
Yorgos. I love Poor Things. That was a great movie.
Yes.
But I'm not a big fan of multiple stories intertwining into one.
Ah.
Not drive, traffic. I love
Mm-hmm.
that movie. Just not my thing. I
Okay.
appreciate it. I think those are all art. But for
Mm-hmm.
me personally, I like at least one or two characters. That's it, max. But like everybody else, like just contributing to the story and like they're all separate and shit like that, and I have to keep track.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, okay, that makes more sense about the Black Mirror because that's definitely an anthology series where every episode is different, new
yep,
actors,
not a
different
fan.
actors. So, but no, I understand. But again, you like what you like. It's again,
Sure.
art is subjective, and that's why, as you pointed out, we live in a great age where if you like something specific, you should be able to find it, and you don't have to watch the rest. And it's not like 50 years ago we have three movie channels. That's all you
Yeah.
can watch.
Even
You know.
worse, when everybody was listening to the same radio station, War of the
Yep.
Worlds, like that Orson Welles, like
Yeah.
everybody was watching the same Hallmark edition of this. Everybody, the CBS brings you this. That's why I think we're in the golden age. Because yes, there's plenty of shit out there. There's plenty of garbage. But like, if you're not lazy, you could find the gems. You could find the really good stuff.
Correct. 100% correct. So I think now we can move to the underrated part of the podcast, where I'll ask you, Vincent, who do you think is the most underrated actor we have right now?
Underrated actor. Yeah, right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with the Times right now. I'm gonna go with I forgot her name. See that Mickey Madison, the one that plays Honora. I think she was excellent.
Okay.
She's under. But are you talking about like
Oh,
a
actress
veteran?
was next. Yes, actress was next.
A
But no,
veteran?
we can go like actress first. Yeah,
I think
I
Amy Adams. I think Amy Adams. I think it's a travesty she's never won an Academy Award. Actually, I think she's like 0 for 7 or something like that.
okay, 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 okay. Ooh, Amy Adams. Oh yeah, like
Rival.
I was gonna say she wasn't even nominated. That's the bigger travesty. That was one of the biggest things about that Oscar year. You can look it up and fact check me. The movie
No, you're
had
right.
some Oscar nominations,
And
and
that's her best role.
everybody, no, yeah, and everybody was like, of course, Amy Adams. She's like definitely at least a nomination because she was so awesome in that movie. She's leading that movie, and their movie is built on her, and somehow she doesn't get a nom. And everybody was like, what?
I think
What
Tom
did?
underrated. I think he should have an Academy Award or two. I think that like The Last Samurai, Interview with the Vampire. I think a lot of I think there's a gift and a curse to being good looking,
Hmm.
especially for the male genre. I think Leo and Brad Pitt finally got theirs, but it took a long time. I think Hollywood looks like they'll market you, they'll put you in the blockbusters, they'll let you make money,
Hmm.
but behind closed doors, they'll be like, no, you can't get in the awards, only the ugly people. And that's subjective too, but like for instance, like Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of the best actors of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And someone said that recently. Someone was like, that's like, oh, they were talking about Instagram following. I don't know if you read that article with Maya Hawke. And
Yes, and Ethan Hawke, yeah, yeah.
yes, that's gross. That's gross that like your Instagram following is the reason why. But I get it, like marketability, and that's not how I would do it.
Hmm.
I think being a creator, you have to take risks. So
Yes.
for instance, what's his name? Ridley Scott's one of my favorite directors ever. That's why this disappointed me so much when he talked about Exodus and having that all white cast with Christian Bale talking about a period of time in Egyptians,
Hmm.
and you try to market an all black film. I'm like, oh my God. If anybody can take a risk, it's you, and you're being a pussy about this. Like,
I was gonna say, I think he like the actual quote was like, "I cannot market the 120 million movie if with a guy called Muhammad or something like that." Yeah,
yeah,
like he said something like that, and I'm like,
no,
yeah,
but it's stupid. It's like I get it, but but it's funny. The same year that he said that, fucking Star Wars had what's his name? My
John
guy.
Boyega,
Did again?
John Boyega.
Yes, amazing actor.
Hmm.
And then they had Daisy Ridley, and they led the box office that year.
Yeah.
And Black Panther came like a few years later. So I think the best filmmakers take risks. The one that like do copycats and just try to stay in a box and try to stay in a lane. And I don't think that's Ridley Scott, but I think at
Hmm.
that time
I
that
think what helped them was they were part of established franchise. Like, like people will go to see Star Wars or Marvel Black Panther anyway.
the
Like,
point.
no matter what. So, like, no, I get it, but I get your point. But also, but yeah, no, Ridley Scott should have definitely made a movie with like bit more appropriate casting. Like, like especially if it's, you know, Egypt and you cast Christian Bale, and I'm like, all right, that's choices choice has been made. So, but okay. So, for your underrated actor, you're talking Tom Cruise, or
Yeah, I think he's part of that pretty boy era.
okay, okay.
Um, and back in the day, they did. It's funny before him and like Brad Pitt and all of them. Those are the ones that got it, like Cary Grant,
Mm-hmm.
Robert Redford, all the heartthrobs. But for some reason, in the '90s, Johnny Depp, they just shifted. They said no, no more pretty boys. The pretty boys
Yeah,
will not get aesthetically subjective and what's it called, symmetrical. They
yeah.
went away for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying like anybody should get awards, especially in film for your looks, but
Mm-hmm.
I think they're persecuted, in my opinion.
Okay, interesting. No, like I definitely Tom Cruise has some movies he's been nominated for, and there were like a few years when I'm like, yeah, he should have probably won here or there. Like Born or Fourth of July, I think there was a big one that he should have maybe won for because he was great in that movie.
Rainmaker, Vanilla
Yeah.
Sky, Collateral.
Oh, Collateral is
Yeah,
awesome.
Jamie Foxx was excellent. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
Tom Cruise was better in that movie, to be honest.
And speaking of taking risks, that was the only time, if I'm not mistaken, to this day, he played the bad guy, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, so
And
that's
he should
probably why he
take
doesn't win
more,
either.
yeah, and he should take more risks like that, where he's not always like, saving the world and running. Like he can still run, but he can be a bad guy and still run.
Yeah, even when he was the butt of the joke in Tropic Thunder, like you're
Yes,
right, that was out of character for him too. And that's one of his.
correct. Yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
a good thing.
And so for actors, you going with Amy Adams or the what's her name from Anora?
Yeah, current like modern right now, like
Mhm.
her because a lot of people are sleeping on her because she's so young.
Oh, Mikey Madison. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, her acting credentials are very small, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and stuff like that. So people like barely know her. But as far as like mainstream, where she gets snubbed all the time, and I think people sleep on her. Even Night Bitch, she was amazing, but the movie was lackluster. Her performance was awesome.
Oh
So I
wait, so Amy Adams? No, we're
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay, okay, okay. Because I was like, she wasn't there. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I get you.
No, you were saying, but you said that's why I triggered because you said she wasn't nominated, but you were talking about a rival.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yeah.
she
No,
was
Night Bitch.
got the
Yeah.
Golden Globe nomination for Night Bitch, but she didn't get a nomination for the
Hmm.
Oscars.
Which is an interesting movie. I'll say that.
I liked it. I really
Mhm.
liked it. It was
I,
good.
I liked most of it. I didn't like.
I'm in
certain
love.
choices that were made because I thought the movie doesn't trust me as an audience member to pay
Ah,
attention.
true.
And I'm like,
Most
oh,
of the case.
and because like she would do something, and then there was a voiceover, and that moment she felt like this, and I'm like, well, I can see, but the movie, I hate when some movies feel the need to over-explain everything. So like even the dumbest ones get it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but the movie, let me figure it out. And like I was figuring out all of it, and I was like, oh, at this moment she felt like this, so she finally felt. I was like, movie, shut the fuck up. Like Amy Adams, like I like you, but don't. And obviously, it's not her fault. It's the director, it's the screenwriter, all that. So I didn't like certain choices, but I think her performance was great, and the movie I actually kind of liked, except for those choices.
Yeah, I
But
gave it
yeah,
like a 6 out of 10, but her performance was always, she always
yeah,
delivered. I agree.
100%, 100%. And again, like her not being nominated for Arrival, that's up there with like Lupita Nyong'o not being nominated for Us, or like Toni Collette for Hereditary that year, or those
Oh,
years. Like,
wow, we're on the same page. Yes. That's another one that slept on horror. Like,
hmm
I think the last one to really win was Silence of the Lambs, and that was so long ago.
yes.
And
That's why
Hereditary was
Substance like is
solid.
such a major thing. For Substance, it's such a major thing to be for Coralie Farge to even have a nomination. I was so happy when she was nominated for Best Director. Like
Ooh.
Substance, Coralie
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Farge
yeah.
for Substance.
Great
That's
movie.
my favorite movie of the last year, by the way. Like I know
That's a pick. That's a good pick. It's
it
not
is.
one of my. I would pick Demi Moore for Best Actor.
Mhm.
I would not be mad if it got major awards. I would not be
No,
mad.
Demi and Mikey are kind of neck and neck. So like that's it's a flip of a coin between those two. Who gets the? I think it's probably gonna be Demi just for her entire career. So it's like fine, like
About that at all. She is, and her speech was spot on. It's so
yes.
true. So
But like
true.
with Coralie, like I remember still watching Substance in a cinema with my friend, and the movie ended, and I was talking to her about the movie, and I said, even back in like September, I know this is not gonna happen, but if there was a Justice in the World, like this director should be nominated for Best Director at the Oscars. But Academy hates horror, so
I
they
know.
will never
I don't get
happen.
it. I don't get it. Like they hate it so
Yeah,
much that they like pick Forrest Gump. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
know.
Forrest Gump is good, but it was like that wasn't the best picture of the year.
And then now and when I was watching the nominations live and then her name popped up, I was like, yes, I was so happy for her. Like I probably she's not gonna win probably, but I'm like, yes, but it's a big step for her, her name being recognized. And I've seen her previous movie, Revenge, also awesome movie.
Which
I
one?
don't, but so yeah, like I was like, yes, whatever she does next, I'm in. Like, 'cause she's got an eye, she's got a talent, she knows what she's doing.
She's more underrated than Amy Adams, to be honest. So
Mm,
no, totally
of
agree.
course. So, well, that brings us to the director. Who do you think is the most underrated director we have right now?
Spike Lee
Oh, oh, you think he's underrated? Okay.
should have won Best Director a few times. And you may Black Klansman was one of them. You mentioned them before,
Yeah,
Malcolm.
yeah.
I yeah, no, I think because of the color of his skin and the country that he's in, I think that's a big reason why he has none. I know he has an adaptation. I think that
hmm
was Black Klansman, and I think he got did he get one before for adaptation for Malcolm X? I forgot, but
I think he's
he
got like few for writing, for like, for a writing, yeah. But he probably should have won for Do the Right Thing
yes,
because
absolutely,
that's
absolutely.
you feel the heat. You like, the New York
That's
on
true.
a
They're sweating. Very
like
true.
you feel it. It's like when you're watching movies that take place in a cold, like in the mountains, and you feel the cold.
Yeah,
Like he made you sweat through the screen
I
because
agree.
you are there with them on that very hot summer day in New York.
Wow.
Like
That is so true. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I think Quentin Tarantino, but these are my favorites anyway, so I'm gonna say that.
like
Uh
Snow Spike is great. Like besides one movie, I like everything he's directed. Like we don't talk about
is that?
we don't talk about the Old Boy remake. I don't
Oh,
know.
so
I
I saw that and I didn't see the original first, so I enjoyed it. But I think if I would have saw the original first, I think I would have had your opinion on that.
Yeah, like unfortunately I've seen the original first. So even then when it was announced, I was like, what? Why?
And I got introduced to Korean film maybe like 7 years ago, so like I'm
Oh,
still decent
yeah.
on it.
No, 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 yeah. But like, I was like, that's a choice. And then I saw the movie, and unfortunately, I seen the original, and I'm like, that's basically the same thing, except for a very weird another subplot. And I'm like, what? That's
Everybody is always trying to include what's it called? Uh, incest.
I
Everybody's
was gonna
trying
say,
to. I know everybody's always trying to figure out how to get incestuous behavior on the screen. So I'm like, not. I wasn't shocked that he did it too. I'm like, "Ugh."
Hello, stepsister. Are you stuck in this washing machine again?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What are you doing, stepbrother? What are you doing? Keep
It's
going.
just, yeah, no. So I know the next one is difficult, but do you have a movie or two you would consider underrated you would want to shout out?
No, of course I'm rated that I would like to shout out. Damn, that's a good. Gotta look at my IMDb real quick.
All right.
I think a lot. I think Edward Scissorhands is underrated. I'm a big
Okay.
Tim. That's another one that's an underrated director. I think he should have won or at least got nominated. Did he get nominated for best director for that?
For Edward says I don't think for Edward, no. Let me double check myself. I
And I
think he
think
was
he got
nominated
robbed.
for
But
Ed Wood, I think.
oh, that was a good one.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, he's a good. I think also he got robbed for Big Fish. So I think again, like you said, they look down on horror, and his aesthetic in his movies are very horror themed, even if they're not horror. Like they're very like pale characters, very dark characters and stuff like that. And it's mostly like a dark comedy, most of the things that he does, in my opinion.
Hmm.
But I think because of that, I think they paint a picture of him and they don't give him the nomination. So I think Edward Scissorhands is a quality movie, very underrated. I think it's a 10 out of 10, and I think people view it as a cult classic rather than a classic.
Okay, so I had to check and I was wrong. And now, like when you said Tim Burton, I'm like, really? Is he underrated? And he's only been nominated twice for a but hear this for Best Animated Feature and Feature of the Year for Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie. He's never been nominated for not even for a directing of Ed Wood. So okay, now on your page, I'm mad. What the fuck?
I'm glad I could create some outrage for you.
It's not even out there. I just doesn't compete like for Edward Scissorhands. Okay, maybe like I can see like even though I love that movie, but maybe I can see why. But look for Ed Wood,
It
what?
was great. That's a sleeper. Nobody
I
mentions that of his
Ed Wood
catalog.
is awesome. No, Ed Wood, and again like I'm a Tim Burton hardcore fan. Like I've seen on Big Fish. Like to me that's like sleeper. Like to me Big Fish is such a beautiful movie. Another one I need to revisit because it's been a long time. But
Big
I
Eyes too is underrated. Big Eyes is underrated too. Amy Adams, another one. Amy Adams.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's only like two or three movies of his I haven't seen, and Big Eyes is unfortunately one of
Oh,
them.
I
So
like it.
I missed
Burton,
me,
I like it.
but I will no, I will definitely like check it out. But
Good.
okay,
Glad.
all right. And do you have a TV show you would like to shout out as underrated,
Yeah, sure. Skins.
or the UK one?
Mhm.
I haven't seen it, but I know quite a few good people came out of that, like Daniel Kaluuya. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The girl from The Gentleman, Katie Scaldaro,
Mm,
she was on that show as well. Yeah, no, I don't know how. I don't know how it's underrated.
hmm.
I don't know enough people that have seen it, and I can't, it should be on everybody's list, in my opinion.
And also, isn't there like an American remake of Skins?
Um, MTV produced it. It was
Ah,
terrible.
okay, okay.
That's not a. I've seen few reboots that I enjoy, but most of them are shit. So I'm not a. I'm more of an originalist. Like go create
Yes.
something. I was just talking to my friend. She's bland in my opinion when it comes to art, and she was like obsessed with the Frasier reboot, and she's like, "Have you seen him?" Like, no, I watched the original Frasier. I don't need to watch him again. Like, I'm okay. Like, and I'm very selective. For instance, I almost didn't watch um We're in the Shadows because I
Oh,
like
what
the
we're doing in the shadows. Yeah.
I love the film, and I'm like,
Hmm.
what am I gonna get from the TV show? Someone convinced me to watch it, and the TV show was actually better than the movie. And so, but I'm hesitant though. Like you
Okay.
already Catfish, for instance. I
Hmm.
like the documentary, but then when they made the show out of it, they're like, Vince, do you watch Kev? I'm like, no, I saw the movie. Like, how much of the time do they need to get from me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
off one source material.
No, yeah, like I'm I've seen what we were doing in the shadows movie, and it's great. I know about the TV show, and I know it's supposed to be also great, but I still haven't gone around to watching it. But it's definitely on my list. It's just that list
Love
is never getting any shorter.
No, and you shouldn't go into it being like, can it be better than the film? But you just can't help it. But
Hmm.
in my opinion, it surpassed the film, and that's
Okay.
hard. The film is amazing.
Film is great, so I'm excited to check it out. Just again, not enough time. I would take the 36-hour day. Thank you
36
very much.
hours.
36, that's where it's at.
You need to be able to shit out that habits.
So, Vincent, this has been a blast. Thank you so
Same.
much for agreeing to be here. Before we say goodbye, I've asked you quite a few questions, and you've been kind enough to answer all of them. So, before we say goodbye, let's flip the table. Do you have a question or two for me?
Yes. Where could I know your audience knows, but where could I find you on all your platforms? Can
Okay.
work with you if you guest starred anywhere? Like you're I didn't get the only I know you called me saying I was unprepared, but I think the thing that I was most unprepared is doing a deep dive on you. So I would like to know.
No, I'm on Letterboxd. That's where I use the most. And I have my own blog. Lostinmovies.co.uk is my blog where I try to write. I haven't written something in a while, so I'm slacking a bit. It's just a lot of time. Like again, a lot of time is spent on this podcast right now and watching movies and catching up with movies. Letterboxd in movies lost. And that's about it. Like I'm social media, I've just deleted my X or Twitter account because I'm like, you know what? I've been contemplating it for a while to delete it, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. And I am not. I'm a bad influencer. I'm not. Well, first of all, I'm not an influencer. I don't have an audience to influence. But second, I am like, yeah, I don't care about social media, and that's why I'm yeah.
I'm envious. Yeah, that's how I've made a lot of money, social media. So
Mm.
I would like to break away from that one day, but we'll see.
See, I need to talk to people like you. Like, okay, how can I actually make money out of this? Because look, if I can make this full time, maybe I'm in. Like, teach me your ways, senpai, teach me your ways.
That would be my pleasure. My last full-time job, I was director of digital for a
Hmm.
client agency. So but when it comes to myself, I get lazy because I'm just so fatigued from doing it for other people. So
That's the thing. I totally get you. No, so like basically, like Letterboxd, my blog, here this podcast. That's about really like where you get to know me. On the other two podcasts, I'm on every month. So one is Wasteland Retrospective, where I talk two movies every month with my buddy Shane, and the other is Cinematic Wasteland with Shane and Adam, where we talk about movies from now 1920s and we move to through the years of cinema. Each
oh,
episode is a
cool.
new movie, so
That is very cool.
yeah, so like I try to watch it, like again, like on my letterbox I try to like watch all the movies. My humble goal is to watch every single movie ever made, so that's going well.
With you on that one. I salute your journey on that one. That's a
I
great one.
I know it's never gonna happen, but hey, I'll try. But no, like I'm trying to watch like all the movies like from 30s, 40s, 60s, like and that's why I'm slacking on some of the newer ones where I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want to just watch the newer ones. I need to know where things originated from and how we've evolved from. If you watch a movie from 30, even from 20s and to 30s, it's a massive jump in just those 10 years. So
I am a big fan of social justice, but a lot of people are proponents for it. They say in order to take justice, you have to take it from somewhere else. So unfortunately, yes, in order to give the love to those older films, the modern films have to take a little bit of a back seat. It's just so much content out there.
correct. It's so much movies and TV shows are being made where like yeah, it's insane. So-
I admire you for that. That's awesome.
oh, thank you.
Oh,
So,
you, oh my gosh, this was a pleasure. Like I know people call themselves film buffs and cinephiles and stuff, but it's good to talk to someone who actually backs it up.
no, thank you. Likewise. And so, what about you? Where can people find you if they enjoyed our talk? Where can they follow you?
No problem. My stage name is still Vinson. I do a lot of content creation. I do like short films. I have a podcast called Keep Up, and it is about like viral trends and things that are going on. So it could be like politics, it could be my favorite movies, it could be places that I've been. Um, so just trying to keep up with the latest trends. But like I said, STILLVINSANE. It's like still insane, but with a V inside. So that's all you have to click in. I'm on so many platforms. It's not even funny.
And I'll link some of them down below so people can click and follow you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Appreciate that.
And again, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. As always, you've heard, listeners have heard mine, so like I'm not gonna repeat myself. And as always, this podcast is part of SPDM Podcast Media. Special thanks goes to Highflyer Creative for designing my logo. If you want to check them out, visit highflyercreative.com. And until next time, bye bye.